Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the virtual Talladega Superspeedway for tonight's coverage of the FTF SNSL. Acceptance on Fridays as we get ready to go for the second race of the campaign here on STN Racing. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside of the booth tonight is Nick Olson with Zach Johnson in the director's seat for what's expected to be an interesting race. These drivers will be carrying speeds of more than 180 miles an hour around Talladega Superspeedway tonight in the Legacy trucks, Nick. It's going to be an exciting race to say the very least, especially after that thrilling opener last week.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, great group of drivers out here tonight, and Talladega always knows how to bring the best out of people, and usually very chaotic finishes and eventful races. So I'm looking forward to see what this group is capable of, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of 3 and definitely 4 wide racing tonight as well. If practice was any indication, we're in for quite the show tonight.
Absolutely. Curling qualifying is underway. As you can see, drivers are curling the midst of solo qualifying, 2 laps over the next 3+ minutes left on the clock. The top 2 automatically will lock themselves into the front row for tonight's main racing action, but there will be up to 2 heats where 10 laps will take place. No cautions, 15 minutes total for the competitors to try and determine the rest of the starting positions. So that's going to be critical to be able to qualify well tonight for what's expected to be a very big race. Let's put it that way, with the big distance of 94 laps on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're looking at an NIS length race, so this isn't any sprint. You're going to have to make it quite a while, take care of your equipment. As Talladega is always, attrition is always a factor. So you're going to need to take care of your equipment and make sure you're there at the end so you can get the big prize at the end.
The driver who received the big prize to start things off, a race victory last week at the iRacing Superspeedway in the NASCAR Cup Cars, was Tristan Hagenstein. It was his first career FTF victory. Tonight, he was one of the quickest drivers in practice. In fact, up until the final few moments, was inside the top 5 on the board. He's also having an interesting throwback paint scheme tonight. He'll be running a 2006 Steve Park paint scheme from the, at the time, called NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So for Hagenstein, a lot of momentum being carried forward entering tonight. After that victory, he led 25 of the laps in that race at iRacing Superspeedway.
Yeah, winning a race on a plate track is always a huge momentum builder. It shows that you can execute when you need to. It's very quick decisions. A lot of quick thinking is necessary to win on these tracks, and we're going to see the same thing here tonight. Tristan obviously got it done last week, and I got him marked down as somebody who could do it again tonight. He's a very strong competitor, very sharp driver, and one of those guys who can make those quick decisions when we need to.
Now, to give you a quick reminder of the point system for this series, points are awarded for drivers that attempt a race. There is a drop now for this season for our competitors, but it's essentially a style similar to what you may have noticed in the mid-2000s for the NASCAR Cup Series, where the winner will receive 185 points, 170 for second, 165 for third on down. Similar to that system back in the day. You get 5 points for leading a lap, 3 points for the fastest lap in the race, and you'll get 5 points for leading the most laps tonight. So bonus points are also going to be interesting to watch for, Nick, because at iRacing Superspeedway, it seemed to change hands a decent bit, and some drivers were able to build up runs from up to 10 car lengths back to be able to try and get those 3 bonus points for the fastest lap. Not going to be as simple tonight.
No, definitely not. Talladega is definitely similar in that regard, to where you could back up those 10 car lengths like you had spoken about and get that run and see where you could take it. But as Talladega is, it's not as wide as iRacing Superspeedway for sure. So you're definitely going to see drivers trying to build runs, and if they can't, I mean, they're going to have a decision to make whether they want to put that run into somebody's bumper or whether they want to back off and try another lap to try and get those bonus points. That is, like you said, a huge deal.
Now, the top 2 qualifiers were Cosman Ian Ishu, along with Tyler O'Neill for tonight. Those drivers have locked in a front row starting position for tonight's main racing action. The drivers are now lining up, though, for tonight's heat racing. Mike McConville will bring them to the green flag for the heat race tonight for 10 laps, with Mike Campbell to his outside. Clint Roberts, coming off a strong performance, starts in third, along with Tristan Hagenstein. Corey Carpenter will be joined by Jordan Worth in row 3, with Justin Mallow and Derek Justice in row 4. Rounding out your Thompson starting position tonight is Mikula and Ryan Naraki tonight, Nick.
Yep, in 11th we have Adam Martin. 12th, Michael P. Frisch, somebody who I think will be a challenger this evening. Sean Butler, another strong competitor, in 13th with Jack Painter. Brennan Merdza in 15th with Isaac Johnson 16th. Tyler J. Williams rolling off 17th. Ryan Pandisco in 18th, Andrew Hardcastle 19th, and then Mike Fallon rolling off 20th.
Jeremy Clapper will start 21st tonight, and Brian Hicks will be someone interesting to watch for tonight in 22nd position. Then it'll be Brightshoff in 23rd. Jake Poulin starts in 24th. He'll be driving one of the South Point Hotel and Casino trucks tonight. Brian Mercurio is currently starting for 25th position with Kevin McAdams 26th. Kyle Short rounds out the 27 drivers expected to take the green flag here tonight. It should be worth noting Brian Mercurio currently trying to still make his way to the virtual racetrack for tonight's action. He has only 5 seconds to do so. But we are at Talladega Superspeedway tonight, also known as Dega. Its address based in Lincoln, Alabama, no more so for Talladega, Alabama. This track opened in 1969 and features 2.66 miles of racing action across its 33 degrees of banking across the turns. They're a little bit lighter on the banking, though, in 3 and 4, 32.4 to 32.5 degrees in turns 3 and 4, with the tri-oval being 16.5 degrees. Speaking of degrees, tonight's track temp for this heat racing action, 93 degrees is your track temp, 77 degrees Fahrenheit is your air temp. The wind is currently gusting a fair bit as well, Nick, currently gusting 6 to 8 miles an hour, give or take, currently to the north. That is currently facing turn 1's banking at the moment, humidity 43% for today.
Yeah, that wind is nothing to scoff at either, especially in these very close quarters situations here at Talladega, that you get that right burst of wind with the right cut of the wheel and you might go spinning. So these speeds are definitely high enough to have something like that happen. So you never know what you might see, especially going into turn 1 where the truck gets really light on entry.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is the speeds for these drivers. We talked about up to 180 plus miles an hour. It's going to be important for drivers to think big picture here if they want good starting position for tonight's main event. By the way, tonight's setup is provided by Derek Justice for this legacy truck, which always, I remember back in the day when this truck was used in official racing, particular, provided a lot of fun racing action. It's going to be interesting how these drivers fare tonight in these trucks.
Yeah, it's always cool to see the older vehicles make an appearance. I know that there are official series. I know Pickup Cup runs these vehicles. At least it used to. So I always used to go in there and give it a shot on these plate tracks. They usually go to Daytona, Talladega. So you get a feel as to what these trucks can do. And with the setup changes tonight, I'm really curious to see what these trucks are going to handle like. I'm really excited to see how this heat race goes, caution free.
We'll see how things fare. Mike McConville in control of the field as the iRacing pace car is off. It'll be the Mikes on the front row. Campbell to his outside. And keep in mind, this is a large restart box all the way towards the exit of the tri-oval for competitors throughout the night. Green flag waits up at the stand. We are underway for heat racing from Talladega, and we're already 3 wide as Tristan Hagenstein already shoots to the outside.
Yeah, Hags is not wasting any time trying to get it done. And you see McConville still hanging on P1, but that outside has a lot of momentum. We're going to be 3 wide. Looks like 3 lanes fully formed by the looks of it, so we're going to see who has what right now.
That's Jordan Work trying to get the push on the high side along with Derek Justice. And already that middle line starting to form up several competitors as well. Here comes the run for Hagenstein as Work tries to push him to the race lead on the first lap. Can't get clear, however. Able to get a bit of a side draft now as they keep it 3 wide down into the corner, multiple rows deep.
Yep, looks like Hags is a nice run there on the outside. 4 trucks up there on that outside. The middle looks a lot more formed, but the outside recently has been known to really have some momentum if you can stay in line and closely knit and organized. And he might have a shot at leading this first lap here, Justin.
First lap, though, ends up going to Mike Campbell to start things off for the heat racing action, as that bottom groove has some openings for drivers to knock down. Corey Carpenter among those drivers with the opportunity behind Campbell to do so. Not quite taking it, though. It seems like everyone wants to run that middle line, except for one driver with a big run. It's Sean Butler on the bottom groove.
Yeah, Butler has a nice run. He's no stranger to plate racing, can get it done anywhere. Always a strong competitor. I tell you though, with a caution-free heat race, one slip up, one little mistake in this big group, and this starting lineup for the feature will be quite topsy-turvy from what it's looking like right now. Just like that. Wow, what a save!
What a big-time save for Michael Frisch. Nearly lost it at the top groove, and now they're 4 wide as Derek Justice leaves Hagenstein to go. One car hits the green cone of the inside line. That's Clint Roberts. He moves back to the racetrack. Still 8 laps to go.
Yeah, 8 laps to go. Definitely urgency is picking up. But there is still 8 laps to go. But these guys, knowing the runs that these guys are getting, perhaps you don't want to be making that run to, oh, there you go, 23's around. Oh, that's it right there. That's a big one.
And it's just about the entire field. Pendicio, several others colliding. Short, Clapper flies up into the sky. Hardcastle crashes. Several more crash to the bottom of the racetrack. Frisch involved. Only about 8 drivers are in the main pack. It is now Corey Carpenter who will be your race leader in the 30 truck. The 31 of Derek Justice in second.
Yeah, wow. That definitely, exactly as I alluded to, is the change that we were looking for up front. But man, Corey Carpenter looks like he escaped with Justice, and depending on the damage behind him, Butler's back there. We'll see what he's got, but these two can put it in cruise control for right now because it is really spread out.
Let's take a look at what happened with the bar visuals replay, as that was calamity and then some for tonight's heat racing action, and has really spread out the pack. The top 8 are separating now by 2 seconds as a result of the massive one down the back straightaway.
Oh, and as I expected, a bad push there, or not a bad push even, just it was a square push, but the way these noses are on these trucks, they're not as flush as the new trucks are, so it doesn't take much to get somebody upset. And that's exactly what happened there. And man, a lot of hard hits and a lot of contenders. I mean, this is still the heat race though, so hopefully we don't see this happen in the feature so early. But a lot of calamity there for sure.
There is a fast repair for tonight's main racing action, but man, this is going to cost a lot of people valuable track position and valuable pit stall selection rather, as well, potentially.
Yeah, that's a big deal on a track like this. I know I'm in a super speedway league on Wednesdays, and pit selection is a massive deal where you end up qualifying, because when you're entering, if we do get to green flag pit stops this evening, you're going to have cars to your left and to your right. And if you have one of those early pit boxes, you're going to need to find your way down quick. And not a lot of people might be willing to give you that room. So you're going to need, if you can get a pit box up front, you can kind of control your own destiny in that regard.
Yeah.
But this is getting pretty wild up here for the lead. Looks like they've all closed it up.
Yes, indeed. I was about to say, it was Sean Butler, Hagenstein, as well as Mikula, who were able to close up within about a lap. Butler is now leading what is the top group, and a lot of space being given by these drivers now. 3 on the top, 4 on the bottom, make it 4 on the top line. And normally you see a few drivers run the middle lines, but several drivers want to try and run the wall here.
Yeah, it looks like Hagenstein's going to get left on the bottom, but Butler and looks like Derek and Carpenter, they're all lined up up front, up on the wall. Shades of the Daytona 500 earlier this year. Not a lot of cars were in that lead pack, but you got them lined up on the fence, just trying to finish this thing. It looks like still got 4 laps left.
One driver slow now in turns 1 and 2 now, it appears. Now has Jordan Worf gone in some trouble? Mike Fallon's running slow. Michael Frisch is also running very slow at the bottom of the racetrack. Meanwhile, the leaders all choo-choo training on the top with 4 laps to go in heat racing action to determine starting positions for tonight's action. They might have to move, though, as Worth has moved up to the top line in the Golden Girls truck. This is going to be interesting how they fare with this as they go around them.
Now, pardon my pun, but Jordan's going to not make very many friends after that one. Looks like this top line had a little separation up until right there. The top 3 had some separation. And I was thinking that the 4th place guy would be trying to back up and try to get a run because, I mean, these guys are just having some fun right now running the wall. If they can get lined up that 4th through 7th, they can probably do something with these top 3, but they seem pretty darn organized running the wall right now.
New fastest lap for the heat, by the way, goes to Mikula so far, as there are those 2 lap trucks we talked about on the top. They make contact with the wall. Derek Justice nearly made contact with Mike Fallon. And the whole top line is starting to break up a little bit. Eventually, though, somebody's going to have to make the move to say, you know what? I might want to try and start this race outside, on the inside, rather, in row 2.
Yeah, that one truck looks pretty torn up, so it looks to be holding up that second group with Hagenstein. Looks like they finally moved him out of the way, and they're going to try and do something else. But this is definitely an interesting setup here to see if these 2 can pick up the 3 and perhaps make a run here, but they're running out of time.
They have ditched Mike McConville, by the way, who was the 8th truck in the pack, had some back-end damage. He is now 9 seconds behind this whole grouping. In fact, has had to come into pit. The drivers in the lead pack with under 2 laps to go: Butler, Carpenter, Justice, Mikula, Martin, Hagenstein, Brian Hicks at the moment are those 7 drivers, and it's still Sean Butler in control at the front, Carpenter and Justice 2 and 3.
Don't look now, but Carpenter and Butler have actually kind of separated themselves from Derek even, so it's going to take some work for these guys while they are getting organized back there. I just don't know if they're going to have enough time to get there.
This is some interesting notes to be able to take as well for those watching along, say, who had damage from earlier on from the garage area, who are going to elect to start to the back. But look at this. There is a second pack starting to close in now. Mike Fallon.
A couple lap cars, too, in there.
Yeah. It's a whole grouping for the white flag this time by Hagenstein. Has to close up half a second as they crash to the back of the group.
Man, that's a shame. We got a couple of guys. I think that Mikula was definitely in that lead lap, so that's going to sting for him, as was Adam Martin. So that might take the steam out of this second lane, but I don't know. Hags has got to run here.
Can he make the move in time? Justice goes for the block. Hagenstein goes for the run. Has someone willing to work with him in Mike Fallon. Hagenstein pushed up to the front. He passes by Butler. Major speed difference of upwards of 2 to 3 miles an hour plus. Michael Frisch now joins the fray. Bit of a squeeze. Hagenstein goes for the block. Butler goes and makes it 3 wide. 4 wide with the lap trucks. Contact as Butler wins the heat race.
What a race right there. And if that's any indication of what we're going to see in this 94 lap feature, we are in for quite the treat. What a drive by Butler. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. He let Hagenstein go by, get where he needed to go. But I mean, the truck can only be so wide in certain situations like that. And Butler just made the right move through the middle, 4 wide. I mean, what a crazy run there.
Now keep in mind that drivers are still cycling around. This is still unofficial at the moment. It should be worth noting for tonight's heat racing action, but it's Butler, Carpenter, Hagenstein, Justice, and Hicks in the top 5. Martin does end up finishing in 6th, Poulin in 7th. Mikula finishes in 8th, currently 33 seconds behind. Justin Maluo, Mike McConville, the top 10, only 11 trucks overall on the lead lap. Isaac Johnson was the last of those trucks, Nick.
Yep, and then we got Jack Painter there in 12th. The first truck 1 lap down, followed by Mike Campbell. Tyler J. Williams, looks like Clint Roberts finished in 15th. Brendan Merzda in 16th. Jordan all the way back in 17th after a chaotic heat race. Mike Fallon, who helped Hagenstein get in position there to win that race, finishing in 20th, it looks like. And I'm sorry, 18th. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. Then we got Frisch in 19th and Hardcastle there in 20th.
So overall, 27 drivers took part in that heat of note. Mercurio and McAdams both did not make it onto the racetrack. The drivers who started at the front were going to be Cosmin Anishu and Tyler O'Neill, again, who did not have to take part in said heat based on their qualifying speed. But one thing that drivers took note of is the tandem is back. And the tandem worked for many drivers up towards the front, it seemed.
Oh, absolutely. I was actually very impressed with how well that worked. I saw the top two up front there with Butler and Carpenter. They were really tight knit together, and they were pulling Derek there in third, and Derek had no damage. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays a factor in the feature. I think we found that the High Line has a lot more than we thought it would have in that heat race, but with how quick that bottom line was able to organize, maybe that was just some guys maybe having a good time and trying to run the wall, since we can't really do that very much. But it looks like if you get enough trucks up there that it could be able to work.
We're going to take a quick break as warm-ups are now underway for tonight's 94-lap main event. Stick around, you're watching STN Racing for coverage of the FTF, and it's Saturday night Super Speedway League, but on Fridays.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to STN Racing's coverage of FTF and SNSL for what's been some exciting action so far to determine your starting grid for tonight's action for Super Speedway Racing action here on a beautiful Friday night at Talladega Super Speedway. Justin Prince, Nick Olson with you with Zach Johnson in the director's seat for what's expected to be an interesting race for tonight. 94 laps on the docket. Under a minute until drivers make their way to the starting grid, Nick. So what are some of the main takeaways outside the tandem drafting that we discussed for these drivers for tonight's main racing action?
Well, I'll be honest, the thing that caught me by surprise was the runs and just how strong they are as we see more calamity here in practice. It's going to be taking care of your trucks, seeing how these noses line up to the bumpers. That's been a concern. That's what caused the major wreck in the heat. I think making sure you're hitting somebody square when you're giving them a push is going to be a big deal. That's pretty much it in my mind. It's a 94 lap race. It's not a sprint. So you definitely have to take care of your equipment. I know you got the one fast repair, but you would definitely want to hold on to that until the end so you have something to take, after a big wreck there towards the end. You can go back after it. So you definitely don't want to burn that early. So I'd be on the lookout for that.
Drivers have now finished up their warm-ups in preparation for tonight. It's time to head to your starting grid for tonight's action for the Legacy trucks at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Cosmin Anishu starts on the pole today with Tyler O'Neill on the outside front row. They set the fastest times in qualifying. The rest of your field set via the heat distance. Sean Butler and Corey Carpenter will start in row 2, with Tristan Hagenstein and Derek Justice in row 3. It's Brian Hicks and Adam Martin in row 4. Jake Poulin will start in row number 5. He'll be joined by Leo Mikula inside your top 10, Nick.
Yep. We're going to roll to 11th, that 6th row, Justin Malillo with Mike McConville. Row 7 with Isaac Johnson and Jack Painter. Row 8 with Mike Campbell and Tyler J. Williams. Row 9 with Clint Roberts and Brennan Merza. And row 10, we're going to have Jordan Worth, a strong competitor starting in the back. Did not have a good heat race with Mike Fallon.
Michael Fritsch will start 21st with Andrew Hardcastle in 22nd position, followed by Jeremy Clapper, who clapped the wall in his respective heat race. He'll be Breitschoff in 24th position. Naraki Short, Pendicio, along with Mercurio McAdams, the 29 drivers on the potential grid slots. Mercurio, of note, did not end up making it to tonight's starting grid for either the heat or for tonight's feature event.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Mercurio was expected to be a contender as well for tonight. Now, we're at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway once again for 2.66 miles of racing action. The temperatures, they've dropped significantly compared to the heat, it should be worth noting. The ensign time has moved to 3:11 p.m. at the moment on May 5th, 2021. The temps down to 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 77 for the air tip. The winds still very strong now to the northeast. That is blowing towards the flag stand down the front straightaway, 43% humidity. So a bit more grip for these drivers, which could mean a bit more faster speeds overall as well with the cooler temperatures on the track.
Boy, I tell you, that makes me a little nervous, knowing the runs these guys were getting already. You get a little headwind or little tailwind pushing at you. That could make those runs even more potent, and more drivers are going to be more tempted to do things with them when they get to where they need to go. So it'll be good for those fastest laps that we had talked about before, but definitely going to be some larger runs than we might have expected.
Should be also worth noting McAdams did not make it to your starting grid either for tonight, so 27 drivers currently lined up behind the iRacing pace car. On that note, what are your keys to victory for tonight, Nick, to be able to celebrate a victory in the second race of the season?
So whenever I plate race, I usually follow something that Dale Jr. would always say on his podcast, and that's you want to race every lap like you're trying to lead it. And I think the winner tonight's going to have to do that. You're going to have to race hard, stay up front. You can always trust your strategy if you're up front. It means you're kind of in control of your own destiny unless one person can wreck you from behind. So I would definitely try to stay up front. That would be my key. But if you're hanging in the back, I would hang way back. I would not want to be in the middle of this field.
The iRacing pace car is off in the control of the Splash and Go graphics and Cartoon Network machine of Cosmin Anishu. Green flag is out. We're underway for FTF action at Talladega Superspeedway.
Looks like the outside's a little bit more spread out. The inside pretty tucked up, nice and steady. But look at this, just like in that heat race, right to the wall. So we're going to see how this works out right away. Butler's going to get up. So we're going to see, looks like Cosmin's going to follow. We're going to see how this outside runs. They might be trying to log some laps here, just like in the Daytona 500. We'll see these guys log some laps maybe for a little while, but looks like Hagenstein's got a nice run from Hicks, a nice push from Hicks with Poulin behind. So they're going to be taking the lead here.
Using the second line at the moment. Third line starting to form at the bottom of the racetrack. Poulin trying to make some ground up against that yellow line. 3 wide, make it 2 wide for the race lead. But it's Cosmin with the big push. He will end up coming across the stripe this time to lead the first lap of today's action, as it looks like several drivers do want to use that top, but several more still prefer that bottom line right against the yellow groove, where drivers have considered that to be the safer mark in a normal circumstance race. Today, we have cars slamming the outside wall trying to run against the fence.
Oh man, Yeah, Butler got a little bit too aggressive there trying to get up, but I tell you, this is not what I expected. I would really be nervous for a guy trying to pinch a guy on the wall and get himself turned up into that outside wall from that second lane. Looks like Jordan Worth and the Golden Girls machine is going to try and go to the lead here on the bottom. He's got a little bit of help. We'll see what they got.
And a bad push from behind. O'Neal trying to shove him forward. Jordan Worth has gone from 19th to 1st, however, in 2 laps. He's your leader on lap 2.
Oh, and
wow.
He's immediately going to get hung out by O'Neal, so he doesn't have much help right now. Looks like it's just the 23 that's going to be down there with him. O'Neal's going to have Hicks. Now Hicks is going to lead the middle with Derek and Poulin up there, but that outside line, once again, proving to be the most organized. And it's going to take that for them to maintain up here, because you can do it with 2 or 3 trucks on the bottom and pass these guys. We're not going fast enough to where that's going to be an issue.
And several of these trucks, keep in mind, are already seeing a bit of damage because they were scraping the wall with the front end, or they've been slammed in hard from the back end. Some of these drivers having aggressive on the pushes, aggressive slides in the middle of the pack. Caution flag is out for the first time. Mike Fallon spins up at the racetrack. It's Justin Malillo, though, who takes the biggest slide.
Yeah, it looks like I'll have to check Malillo, but it doesn't look like anybody hit anything very hard. O'Neal's actually got some pretty solid damage. It looks like Malillo's got some solid damage, but Tyler O'Neal, our race leader right now, has some pretty substantial left front damage, it looks like, as well as some rear bumper damage. So I don't know where he got that, but his truck already looks a little worse for wear.
I believe the front damage may have been from one of the pushes from before. Not sure where the back end damage was from, but the VAR visuals replay will show the reason for the caution flag. It's Mike Fallon and Justin Malillo who made contact out of turn 4 as they both slid down the racetrack, trying to avoid the 3 who went in the wall.
Oh yeah, that's classic running the top at Talladega. You'll see this happen when real life goes here in a little while. If they run like this up on the wall and somebody makes a mistake, you're going to see people darting out and making evasive moves to miss them, and the people running on the bottom are going to be right on your door. So that's definitely a racing incident right there. It looks like the 3 got up into the wall, and just a tough deal there. But I think both of those trucks should be able to be repaired and definitely be in contention here and not have to use those fast repairs this early.
Especially since there's still 90 laps to go, absolutely, in this race. One driver did take a massive slide here. This is Williams, who had to slide to the grass and just avoided the yellow commitment cone.
Yeah, that was a heck of a drive. I'm not real sure whether race control would have cleared that in the right circumstance. I assume that maybe they would if he was missing an accident, but definitely wouldn't want to take the risk. So he made the evasive maneuvers necessary to stay off that pit road, and he's got a clean piece coming to get 4 tires.
Speaking of pit road, several drivers have come down to the pit lane, including just about all your leaders except for Worth, Painter, and Short. Hagenstein taking fuel. Only the rest of the drivers, though, appearing to be taking 4 tires here early on.
Yeah, it looks like Cosman might have slit the box a little bit on his entry, so he might have had a bit of a longer stop than others, but looks like Jordan Worth among those that have stayed out on the racetrack. Hagenstein first off pit road. I'm going to guess that was just a fuel stop. And we're going to see what these guys have here. I don't think tires are going to make much of a difference at this point in the race, but I mean, you just never know with these old vehicles what the tire compounds that iRacing gives us, what wear might be there. So we're going to have to find out.
Keep in mind that there are unlimited tire sets for tonight, but 1 fast repair available for drivers to be able to take if they so choose. Though tonight, for Justin Malillo, he did not use his fast repair. Same said for Mike Fallon. Same can be said for Tyler O'Neal.
Yeah, I think it's also pretty important to note that unless you pre-program this, and some drivers don't do that, you have to remember to uncheck your fast repair every time you come down pit road. And if you have a slightest bit of damage, iRacing will take it as if you are using your fast repair and take it from you and fix your truck. So it's very important for these drivers to stay on top of that, especially if people, I don't know why they would this early, but if you were to come back down to pit road to top off on fuel, for example, which you might see later, definitely want to make sure you're unchecking your fast repair every time you come down pit road, or else somebody might get a bad break and use it accidentally.
Indeed, coming up to 89 laps to go this time by. We are on lap 5 at the moment, as we are prepared for what's expected to be an interesting restart here. To reset, it's Worth in the lead, Painter in second, Short in third. All those drivers stayed out. Then it's Hagenstein, O'Neill, Butler, McConville, Justice, along with Ionishu and Hicks in your top 10. Your biggest movers are currently Short plus 23, Worth 18 spots at the moment, plus 6 for Roberts and Naraki, plus 5 for Pandicio and McConville as the one to go signal this time by, as drivers sort themselves out and get ready for another run here to see if we can try this again after the quick caution flag to start off tonight.
Absolutely. Definitely the caution flag came out a little early than I think everybody was expecting, but just a minor incident. So we're going to need to see how they race. It looked pretty racy up front, with guys moving up and down, picking lanes. That's going to cause an accident a little earlier than people are expecting. If that stuff keeps up, too early in the race, somebody isn't going to know that somebody's trying to make a move, and that's all it takes here, and you have a massive accident. So never a bad idea to look at the lap counter every now and then and recognize where we're at, but it's definitely still early in the game.
Now the interesting point's going to be what happens with Jordan Worth on the start, because of the drivers we've seen watch him go up to the front, then shuffle him towards the middle of the pack again. There's a saying on the back of his truck, and I think it's related to the Golden Girls: "Thank you for being a friend." Will he have any friends here, you think, for this launch?
Yeah, you're going to need friends to perform here at Talladega, and I remember in that I think I made the same pun in that heat race, when he was up on the wall with that damaged truck. If somebody got, these guys are all pretty close and friendly, and that's not really an issue, but if somebody was upset with a move that he might have made at some point, you need friends to win here at Talladega. You can't do it all on your own. So as the bumper says, you're definitely gonna need some friends here tonight.
By the way, keep this in mind as well, that drivers do have a 2-hour time limit if necessary for tonight. There will also be 5 green-white checkers available for later on this evening. So keep that in mind, as already Jordan Worth is off and away with an early launch. The green flag waves. We're backing away with 88 laps to go.
Yep, and referring back to what I had said, I don't think he told third place that he was going to go. He's going to be a set and duck here. The way this is looking, Sean might pick him up, but he's going to have to do some blocking because you have 2 lanes that are coming, and I don't think he's going to get much help here. Yep, there goes Painter.
There goes the run absolutely for Painter, as now Butler ditches him. Back to 3 wide as Derek Justice now wants to give the shove up on the top wall, as everyone seems committed to the choo-choo train tonight. I've seen this work in official races before, at times, if you have enough cars, but never like this.
So the thing about it is, you really do need the cooperation of everybody involved, because all it takes, and I'm sure you'll see it, is 3 or 4 guys to get lined up on that bottom, and they are going to get past. So it looks like these guys are content, as the whole field seems pretty content with just riding right now and logging laps. Long race here tonight, so definitely trying to make it to the end, and I think that's a good strategy.
Keep in mind, with that early launch from Worth, several drivers are in the midst of potentially losing the draft. Mike Campbell has already lost more than a second. A Tyler Williams, 17th on back, is already losing the main mixture of trucks.
Yeah, and that's the issue that arises when somebody jumps the start like that, and he has every right. Jordan has every right in the world to do that. It's up to the drivers behind to be, as soon as that pace car pulls off, wherever we're racing, it's up to the drivers to be up on the wheel and ready to go. But definitely an unconventional way to restart the race. And it seems to have backfired for Jordan a little bit, because he didn't have much help when he did go. It looks like he's got Cosman there with him now, and they're leading that second pack with Carpenter. But we're going to need to see how this works with Jordan for the rest of the day, I think he can definitely. Maybe they're trying to hunt the fastest lap like that. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Jordan put up a fastest lap there, leading that second lane, reeling in a big train up front.
The fastest lap is currently a 51.407, owned by Mike McConville. The past time by, he is currently the 5th truck in the main group at the moment. The next closest times are within about 7/1000ths of a second. It should be also worth noting that Brian Hicks also lost the top 5 draft. He has now moved to the bottom of the racetrack as he's allowing the top 3 drivers who are tandeming together to drive on by to be able to find himself some draft.
Yeah, he should definitely find his way in line like he has right there. And I'm going to tell you, I bet you the fastest lap in the race might even be in the whole race if would be coming from this 3 right here with Jordan, Cosman, and Carpenter, because they seem pretty tight-knit, and they are going to get a massive draft off these top 5 cars here, or trucks rather. So we're going to see what kind of a lap they could put up.
They actually gained about 0.4 of a second or so last time by, so we'll see as they reach speeds of almost 190 miles an hour down the backstretch. And Carpenter seems to be doing exactly that, trying to set things up to be able to get a run to the back bumper, it seems, for the corner exits.
Yep, it looks like the way they're timing this next lap, if they don't catch them too early, this is going to be the money lap here. So we're going to see what kind of a time they put up. I wouldn't be surprised if this time by is still the fastest lap we've seen in the race.
84 laps to go this time by as the times across the stripe, the main group 52.2s. This whole pack lined up in the second grouping 51.9s. Fastest lap was from Michael Frischke at the tail end of the grouping of 51.539 last time by.
Yep, and this group behind Jordan and Carpenter and Cosman there, they've got the draft off of the group that is getting a draft off the lead pack. So they're going to be going even faster yet. So I wouldn't be shocked if that group even puts up the fastest lap. I know it's only a few points, but when you're talking about a championship, every point matters, as we've seen in real life and on this simulator.
See now in the back groupings at the moment, Mike Fallon is trying to get the middle line to work. He does have some help from Michael Frischke at the moment. Tyler Williams is also trying to hook onto that draft. It's not working though. They are not having the numbers build up on that bottom line for that to work yet.
Yeah, they need a few more. I think if they can get 5 or 6, they could probably make it work. But until then, I mean, this top is going to be unmatched.
We were talking about that grouping of cars you mentioned, Worth, Ionishu, and Carpenter. They have now, by the way, reeled in the top 5. So the main pack is now up to 8 trucks. All while this grouping you see is about 9ths or so on back. Here comes the run, though, for Jordan Worth, trying to use the middle line to try and take the race lead.
And we're going to see what kind of a lap this is. We'll see. They might have gotten there a little bit too soon. But definitely they're going to have a run. Carpenter bailed on him, so I don't know if they're going to have a run at the lead. But, oh, looks like the leader's lagging Butler. But that was a 51.35 by Jordan right there.
There was a fast lap set by the train that was behind them, Mike Campbell, a 51.266. So the pace is picking up for some of the drivers as they go 2 to 3 wide and shuffle out and try and organize now behind Jordan Worth, your new race leader. And now Butler wants that lead back. His friend Work doesn't want to give it to him, though.
Yeah, wow. Oh, my goodness. This is a...
Oh, there they go.
No! Oh, no. Looks like Butler and Justice. Oh, Butler's going to hit hard. Justice got in there. Man, that's the product of some blocking, perhaps far too early in this race. And then the other driver trying to keep up with it. And I'm going to guess that he came right across whoever's nose, and that's what triggered it. But, man, that was wild.
That was contact between Butler and Hagenstein there in the midst of turns 3 and 4 exit. And it ends up collecting much of the front grouping we were just talking about. The biggest hits, though, taken from Justice and Butler, I believe, here. You'll see right here the big block, the big moves.
Oh, Netcode, too. Yeah, looks like definitely Butler was going to come down anyway. I don't think the netcode would have made a difference, but there definitely would have been contact there. And like I had alluded to earlier, this is not what you want, especially from a contender like Butler, to have to burn his faster pair on lap, what is it now, 14. And, oh man, O'Neill, Hagenstein, looks like it was minimalized to just those 4. Frisch with a nice avoidance, but that definitely not what you're looking for this early in the race.
Unfortunate for those drivers, as the rest of the packs had to dodge those respective drivers. Jordan Worf is now your leader. For reference, the drivers who stayed up for track position to start things off: Worf in first, Painter in 7th, Short in 10th. As this will trigger everybody down this time by for pit stops. Of note, Hagenstein, significant front nose and back end damage. His truck is crushed.
Yeah, that truck hit a ton right there. So he's definitely going to need that faster pair. He probably actually had to tow, if I had to guess, unless he was able to drive it away.
Well, Hagenstein did make it to the pit lane, but it's Butler who had to tow.
Butler, rather. I'm sorry. Yes. But, man, definitely a tough break. You're going to need to rely on some yellows to get these all these damage fixed, and
Whoa.
This is way too early to want this.
And a major mistake from Tyler O'Neill. I don't think he really got stopped in his pit stall. For more than a couple seconds, he overran his pit stall by a significant point. Or rather, I think he actually took the tires, then backed up and came in again.
Yeah, wow, that was something. He didn't take his faster pair there, which is something to keep note of.
I think he tried to get it.
Yeah, he must have tried to, but thankfully, since he came down pit road this first time by, iRacing will open the pits for him, so he can come back down and try and get it this next time by. And tires won't be an issue since we have an unlimited supply here tonight. So we'll see what he does here next time by. But that truck is destroyed, so I would imagine he's going to want to take it, because he will not be able to hold on to the draft.
And there's mixed strategies here too. 2 tire stops for Short, along with Fallon, along with Pendicio, along with Malillo. The rest of the field took 4 tire pit stops in that sequence. So it has shaken up the lead drivers a little bit here. What are your thoughts so far on how this race has played out, though, with 2 caution flags in the first 15 laps or so? We're coming up to 79 laps to go.
Yeah, and I know I've used the Daytona 500 as reference here, but I kind of am just as shocked. Like when you had that big wreck on lap 15 in the 500, you have a lot of contenders. Unfortunately, they didn't have faster pairs that day, but a lot of contenders just got wiped out and had to use their faster pair here. So I'm curious to see what the Butlers and we'll see what Tyler does this time by. It looks like he might be staying out. I don't know. But I'm curious to see what those guys who were running up front, I'm sure Justice fixed his truck, what they're going to be able to do and how aggressive they're going to be, because they're out of mulligans here. So they're going to have to race responsibly, very responsibly, and out of harm's way, or else their night could be over very, very quickly.
Tyler O'Neill ended up coming down once again to the pit lane. Butler is now the only driver a lap down. Derek Justice got manual damage repairs done, is in 26. That's the one to go signal this time by. It is now for your top 10: Short, Ionishu, Carpenter, Fallon, McConville, Naraki, Painter, Pendicio, Hicks, Malillo at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Malillo was able to recover from that early spin. That truck definitely has some speed left in it.
And Malillo does a ton of work when it comes to the sim race community, you have to say, though, Nick, when it comes to social media, when it comes to the media in the series, especially in eNASCAR, Coco iRacing's competition, as well as in FTF as a whole.
Yep. No coincidence to me that I saw Malillo given the drivers meeting tonight. He's about as dedicated as they come, and a really solid sim racer too. I know he doesn't get the breaks that he should in races like this. Fortunately, gets caught up in some incidents that are not of his making, but couldn't be a nicer guy, and I really hope he continues to ride this wave of success on and off the track, because one of the nicest guys you'll meet out there.
I agree, and One story to touch upon, too, that's just in front of him, by the way, involves real-world racing as well as the virtual world. How about a Camping World truck? Yes, you heard that right. You have a Camping World truck, as in real life for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors and RV Truck Series tonight. Drivers running respective paint schemes for Gander Outdoors, Camping World, etc. This time, for this race, Pandicio electing to run a Camping World truck. It is a special promotion that is being done by the organization for representation across the sim in the real world.
Yeah, you want to talk about good guys as we're going to get the restart here. Marcus Lemonis, sim racing, real life. You have 11 Camping World trucks out there in Las Vegas tonight. Pandicio obviously representing Camping World here tonight. Really cool stuff that Marcus Lemonis is doing for this sport, and I look forward to see what he continues to do.
Interesting how this start's going to go as we're off and away, as already several drivers blocking several cars into the wall. The trucks are over, scattering apart as Mike Fallon snacked the right side of his truck into the wall. Carpenter to the lead. No, it's now Cosmin Ionishu to the point.
Yeah, only a 27 truck field here tonight, but you wouldn't know it by how they're racing right now. This keeps up. We might be looking at another yellow rag being thrown here pretty soon. This is pretty darty stuff for this early in the race. I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but I'm surprised by the level of aggression this early.
Surprised to see Mike Fallon now the lead car on the bottom after smacking the wall just a lap ago, but here comes the run from Brian Hicks.
And
he now goes to the lead.
Look at Justin up there, second in that middle line there. My goodness, Justin's going to have a shot if he can push just a little harder to get down in front of Fallon. He might have a shot at getting this lead.
Everybody wants to lead this time, and it seems like that top line isn't forming up like it was before. Now instead, it's the middle and bottom lines that drivers are preferring here.
Man, yeah, it definitely looks like the bottom is going to start prevailing here as more drivers start to make their way to the front. That last restart that Jordan had definitely spread the field out. So when the drivers go a lot more closer together and not as much caught off guard, it looks like Frisch is going to get the lead here. What a move up the middle. But yeah, definitely a lot more tight-knit this time around.
Yes, indeed. It's Frisch to the race lead, up 20 positions from his starting spot. Power of Isaac Johnson. Having a bit of fun, we'll have to say, with this paint scheme tonight. Let's just say that with the 58 machine as he looks to have fun at the front.
Oh, Cosmin got the wall.
And now they're trying to block on top of things. And that checks up the whole top line as a result of that contact with the wall.
And Cosmin definitely hit the wall really hard. He's losing a lot of positions here. He might get put 4 wide here on the top if he's not careful here. Definitely looks like he dinged it in pretty well on that Cartoon Network truck.
Yeah, great design from him tonight. Representing Scooby-Doo Zombie Island on that respective truck and the Wacky Racing machine, but it crushed in right front. Sees him drop back. It's now Johnson to the race lead. Frischka's elected to become the lead car in the middle line. So the tone of this race has completely changed from looking like everyone wanting to run the wall, be nice and calm, to full-on excitement where drivers going 3, make it 4 wide.
Malillo's going to back out here, which is a wise move, I think, for right now. My goodness, this is chaotic. I think Frisch and Jordan are going to get out of town right here because this is definitely a lot more chaotic than I think they were expecting at this stage.
Keep in mind, we're coming to the end of lap 20, this time by out of 94. So plenty of laps to learn. They're racing like it's lap 90 at the moment. For some of these drivers, it seems. Near contact for Hicks, got a push from behind from Tyrone Neo as here comes the third line once again starting to form.
Looks like Hicks tried to cut it to the middle and make a move, and that lead truck there was not, the 23 was not really having it, but he didn't have much of a choice. At a certain point he had to move. But looks like he's got the help right now as Hicks moves down to the bottom. But yeah, as you said, lap 21, you'd think it's lap 91. But these guys are all for the most part, real good friends, and they're just out there, you know, slicing and dicing and having a good time. So, you know, as long as any trucks aren't getting tore up, I know these guys got a big wide smile right now.
And that's the important thing, right? Especially with the series such as this, Nick, is having fun. Drivers have said this is the most fun they've had in practice tonight, in preparation for this race, and they look like they're having fun.
Yeah, man, this looks like a blast. With the runs they're getting and slicing up the middle, and man, I'd be having a field day. This is a lot of fun. Looking, oh my goodness, oh my gosh, that was really close up front. These blocks are going to be the determinant on how much fun these guys are going to be having here in just a couple of minutes, because oh my goodness, that was almost calamity.
Jack Painter just got pushed into the wall on the top line. Meanwhile, he got shot from behind, and now that top line dissipates its energy. Here comes Jordan Worf again, though. He is back to have fun in the Golden Girls machine.
Yeah, he loves plate racing. On his stream, obviously very popular. Oh, Hicks. Oh no, Hagenstein and Hicks. This is going to be a big wreck right here.
And big contact for the outside wall as the caution flag is out once again on lap 23. And several of your front runners again involved. Clint Roberts demolished on the front of the racetrack.
We're going to need to check Tyler O'Neill as well. I'm not sure where he was, but I know he was he's leading the race. But I know he was up in that lead pack. But some of these guys who have used their faster pairs already, I know Hagenstein, I think, fixed his truck from the first incident, so he still has his faster pair left. But definitely,
yeah,
crazy stuff here. Lap 23, we're going to get a replay. Oh, Tyler O'Neill has disconnected.
That means he's out of the race after that contact. He used the faster pair. Remember the last caution flag. Replay presented by Bar Visuals to see what happened, and it ended up, I think, just one driver making one sudden movement to the quarter panel with an error, which triggered chaos.
Yeah, let's see here. We got it in slow-mo. Looks like Hicks is going to move down. Hagenstein is there. That's Hagenstein. And then he's going to get into the 63. And then, oh my goodness, going to hook the 87 and collect 33, Isaac Johnson. My goodness. That was, I don't know, history buffs, but that looked reminiscent to Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott back in the day. Same exact spot, getting hooked back up across the track, same type of accident. Those are the hardest hits you'll ever take, both in real life and on this simulator. But that 87, my goodness, what a hit.
Off the ground, in fact, with how hard he hit. Able to lock it on down in the middle of the racetrack, but blown motor, one of two drivers to have blown motors, make that three rather. This caution flag has already took the tow as a result of that incident. Let's take one more look once again, and you'll also see O'Neill just get squished up on that top line right here.
Oh, man. Yeah, and that's the gamble that you take when you do take that faster pair. When you go back up there and race, you're accepting the risk that exactly can happen. So his night's going to be over on lap 23, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, that's about as tight a four wide as you'd want right there, or you don't want, honestly. Just guys trying to slice and dice like we had seen all night. One of these times, somebody's going to be there, and that's exactly what happened. So that's a really tough deal. It's like Mike Fallon's going to be your leader coming off pit road.
All right, quick pit stops for a majority of the field. Fallon taking 2 tires, McConville 4 tires, Melillo 2 tires, rest of the field taking 4 tires. This sequence here for this caution flag period. But 12 on back, it's gotten to that point, had to take repairs or a fast repair this caution flag. And several more are still getting repairs. Poulin, Roberts, Short, Clapper among those drivers. So
I do want to mention that Sean Butler did get the free pass there. So after we saw his wreck early, he's back in the picture here as the yellow did come out.
That yellow and white truck, and yes, by the way, that is a real brand, having a nice race tonight. Where
we did look it up.
yes, we did. But I'll have to say, when it comes to Sean Butler, when it comes to these types of races, you have to give him credit. He tries to race as hard as he can and be up at the front as hard as he can. He tries hard to try and do as well as possible.
Yeah, Sean, one of the guys. I mean, I've had the pleasure of sharing the booth with him, doing Grape Drink here on STN, and that was a lot of fun. And obviously, the amount of races we do with him, JP, he's one of the nice guys out there, but definitely gives it his all. I know he didn't have the night he was looking for in Road to Pro last night, but definitely one of the good guys out there, and you'll see him broadcasting wherever, and just really involved in this community. So it's good to see those guys out here running.
Want to go signal once again this time. It's Fallon, McConville, Maluo, along with Mikula, along with Hicks, Campbell, Painter, Martin, Mertzda, and Williams, now your top 10. Welcome to Super Speedway Racing, where the field can flip over and flip around several dozen times, still with us coming to a nice 69 laps to go when the green flag flies this time.
Yeah, and you know that you said the field can flip, and well, I don't think we've seen a full flip tonight, but the running order sure has. But I wouldn't be shocked if we see one of those before the night's over at this rate. But what a wild running order we got here with the two guys who were in our first caution are now leading the inside line coming to green, and the car that some might say might have caused that last caution is going to restart in the 5th position. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Looks like Jordan stayed on pit road for an extended stay, perhaps trying to meet up with Sean. Maybe they'll be heading back to the front now that he's back on the lead lap. Not really sure on Hagenstein whether he took that faster pair, but he's another guy who was up front that I'm really curious to see what he's going to do. Yeah, it looks like he's still got a damaged race truck for right now, and I don't blame him for that strategy at this point in the game, JP.
Yeah, and the main reason, for those who don't know, you have the faster pair, or rather try and keep the faster pair, is you never know if you're going to get involved in a big one later on in the race. That's going to be the most pivotal part.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're holding on to it, and you just never know. They could wreck off of turn 4 coming to the white flag, and you're involved in it. And if you have that faster pair, a lot of people won't at this rate. So you'll have a shot at it still. But it's so important to hold on to that for as long as you can.
Oh, and they're nearly turning each other, trying to get going for the green flag. Mike Fallon got a huge shove from Malillo. Off and away we go. The second row tried to dictate the pace of that start.
Yeah, that's very rare you see something like that, especially taking off so early. You know, in real life, you'll see the guy leading the line stick his hand out the window and wave, but obviously you can't do that here in online sim racing. So that was a heck of a start there.
An interesting one indeed, and sets up Mike McConville to go to the race lead with the help of Mikula. The two trucks able to hook up.
Is working on his faster pair as well. He might have gotten, or no, he's not. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the heat race. But these guys are definitely gonna. I'm curious to watch Jordan and Sean, seeing how quickly. There's Jordan with Cosman, who I think has repaired his truck, but Sean Butler seems to be hanging out in the back, taking care of his truck for right now.
The Bada Bing conglomerate having a solid night, to say the least, so far, in some interesting moments. But for Brian Hicks, he wants the race leads. The top line starting to form up again. The middle line, though, has the most trucks with the speed and momentum to try and battle side by side down the back.
Yeah, Brian has perhaps one of the best paint schemes out here tonight in that Jurassic Park machine. I don't know if we can get it on board with the 23, but he's not anymore. But he's got Jeff Goldblum on the back, and it says, "Don't hit me." So you're gonna need to get hit if you want to go to the front tonight. There we go. He's got the Golden Girls truck pushing him, and Jordan, but
caution.
Oh no, looks like it was way in the back. Oh, there's your flip. Oh my goodness, the Camping World machine.
And how about several flips first
boy.
flips of the season that end up going up and over that many times. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, wow. That looked like, I am so curious to see how that happened right there, because that's a weird location to be flipping in the middle of 3 and 4. So I'm gonna guess there was a right hook. Yep. Sure looks like look like Carpenter and the 56 are gonna get together, and then he's gonna hook it right back across the racetrack. Oh my goodness, this is the worst. Ay, ay, ay. And then there he goes. And let's count them.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh boy, I'm out. I'm gonna run out of fingers and toes, JP.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. How about 20-ish flips into the grass?
20 and a half.
No, I don't know. Also add on a kickstand as well.
Yeah, if this was Monster Jam, I'd give it a 10 in freestyle, but unfortunately we're here racing in Talladega. FTF racing. Looks like, wow, Carpenter was forced below the apron. Not much you can do when you're forced below the apron and you're trying to get back on the racetrack. So maybe a bit of a conversation being had about something that might have happened earlier, because it sure looks like the 56 was purposely trying to take Carpenter down below that yellow line. And I think Carpenter said, "That's enough of that, sir," and bye-bye. That really stinks for the 63, just an innocent bystander, who I believe used his faster pair in the first accident here in the tri-oval. So he might be done for the night.
I think so. Tyler Williams also going to be done for the night as a result of this incident. Take another look and take a listen.
Ah, man. It's just such a helpless feeling when you're out there sim racing. You know, you're just riding, just chilling out in the back. They're just trying to log laps, and you know it can happen anywhere. I remember one year Dale Jr. and Carl Edwards are riding right in the back, and Jr. cuts a right front tire right in the back of the field and takes he and Carl out, and that was it. So, or the other way around. Goodness, that is brutal.
Should be worth noting that there is a splash and go graphics counter for the amount of flips throughout the season. That counter just got a big ballooning of its numbers, to say the very least.
Yeah.
On that note, we are under caution, coming up to 65 laps to go this time by. That splash and go graphics truck is currently scored 84 in 5th position. The first driver off the pit lane, with 4 drivers staying out under this caution flag period. More action coming up here on STN Racing. Right after this, we'll take you side by side for coverage of FTF SNSL.
Of the best sim racers. $200,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? Interlagos, Barcelona, Imola, Silverstone, Road Atlanta, Montreal, Spa, Nürburgring, Le Mans, Monza. This is racing for immortality. This is esports personified. This is the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercar.
Welcome back to STN Racing's coverage of FTF SNSL, except it's on Fridays. And what's been an eventful Friday night of racing action at Talladega Superspeedway and the Legacy Chevrolet Silverado so far tonight. Justin Prince along with Nick Olson with you as we look at your field summary. After 29 laps, 14 lead changes already, 4 caution flags, 6 caution laps so far, and what's been an eventful one. And already 3 drivers are out of the race. Williams, Pendicio, and O'Neill so far.
Yeah, it's been quite an eventful 30 laps here so far. We've had 3 pretty major accidents so far, maybe 4. This has been quite the event so far. A lot of really great drivers out here showcasing their talents, and it's been a lot of fun watching them slice and dice.
Now the race leader for this restart is Mikula after staying out. And it's a similar strategy that worked for Jordan Worth to try and stay out, and if you had friends, you get to get track position. This will potentially get some for the 3 truck. Mike Fallon also staying out for the track position. Jack Painter. The interesting question mark is going to be the 27 of Hagenstein, and that Steve Park throwback. He stayed out. That front clip is a little bit better now, but it's still a damaged race truck.
Yeah, and that won't work very well in clean air. I'm curious to see with these top 2 on the outside, both with some damage, how this outside line's going to get going here on this restart, but we're going to find out.
Green flag, we're back to racing, and they're already wrecking at the back.
Oh my goodness, what a save. Some angry chatter on the chat already. Maybe some drivers weren't expecting that to happen. I sure wouldn't, but looks like a missed shift perhaps.
That was from Brian Hicks, who ended up not going on the start, and Adam Martin making contact with him. That really checked up the back of the field as a result and broken things up a little bit. But right now the 3 truck with no help as they go 3 wide. Mike Fallon to the race lead.
Wow, what a move. And that's just the product of 2 trucks on the inside and outside not really having any help. 3 trucks still, Mikula still doesn't have any help out there. So we're going to see here what happens. Looks like pretty tame so far. As I say that, some pretty darty moves to the inside, but we're gonna see how this pans out here. I mean, how many times we need to be under the yellow flag before we start logging some laps? I think we might finally start to see that here.
Big push, by the way, on the back end of Campbell from Justin Maluro as they go back to the middle and bottom lines for this run. Hagenstein takes it 3 wide, and just as you say, tame. How about go aggressive?
Yeah, Hagenstein said, what damage? He's going for it right now. He's been involved in 2 incidents tonight, none of his making. But he's out here with help from, oh, look at that, Sean Butler has surfaced. Oh, look at 4 wide. Oh, boy.
Derek Justice taking it 4 wide. Butler wants to go and make it near 5 wide. Now back to 3 as Butler and Justice both make it work as they try and get the top line reestablished.
You know, as were my notes at the beginning of the race, I would try, oh man, Jordan's going 4 wide, but I would have tried to race and stay up front, but oh my goodness, this is some of the tightest racing we've had all night, and I don't think it's gonna work. I think Blanche just got hit in the right rear, left rear.
Wow. This has been interesting as now Michael Frisch is in the race lead. Michael Frisch goes over the racetrack with a bad push. What a save!
Sometimes all you can say when you're sitting here watching this is "oh," and that's about what I've got right now. Because this is insane stuff right now. I don't know. If I'm Barney the Flag Man, I'm getting that yellow flag ready.
Especially since you had a yellow truck on the apron that nearly lost. That was Ionishu. As now back to 4 wide yet again. Worth with the help of Hicks to the race lead. Justice and Butler electing to stay up on the top as that Golden Girls truck. I can't help but laugh as now these drivers not going to have some laughing matters.
My goodness. This is, it does not discriminate whether you're in 1st or whether you're in 15th. I mean, this racing is crazy everywhere. There is no place to hide. I think somebody might have had some trouble down the back straightaway there.
Brightshoff Brightshoff spun around off this racing surface. However, the caution flag will not come out for that. And we are still racing with 60 to go this time by. 1 hour and 14 minutes still on the clock for reference sake, says Andrew Hardcastle. We haven't talked about him. Now leads the top and tries to block several lines as Butler wants to lead that group.
My goodness. And there's Hicks up there pushing Butler. Oh my goodness. Finally, I think we're double wide for the lead. That's something I didn't think I'd say for a little while, but Hicks has some pretty good damage back there on that back bumper. Somebody might have gotten into him from that misshift earlier, but my goodness, this is some of the closest racing we've had all night.
Indeed, it has been so far. The main pack separated for the top 14 by only 0.7 of a second. Butler now works to the top of the racetrack once again. And you can tell the teamwork is starting to come into play here for some of these drivers, where you need to be coordinated, as you talked about, with some of these lines. And it seems to be that case with those three choo-choo training up top.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're just now coming to 59 to go. Maybe 58 to go now. And it is... I mean, they're still doing the same, slicing and dicing. They're having, like we said earlier, this is fun. This is fun racing. When you could do it, not risk getting in a wreck, which, the luck of there hasn't been very good tonight, but this is a lot of fun doing this and getting the pushes, and this is just some crazy stuff.
For some of the drivers, they may have some of the faces that are on that truck. Let's put it that way.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I'm gonna be looking about like Betty White's age when we're done here. This is adding years on my life watching this.
It's Brian Hicks, though, that now leads the top line after a close call off of turn 2. Worth, though, trying to get the trade back, as now this is where it got dicey before in the heat races, with drivers trying to squeeze from that middle line for the drivers up top.
And yeah, this is the incident that we had earlier. Reminds me of that first caution we had with Malillo. All it's going to take is one car hitting the wall there on the outside, bouncing off just a little bit. And he might come down into that middle lane, and that could spell trouble.
And it can take a ton of practice, as we talked about, to be able to run this line. And we're not talking about just for qualifying, for race trim as well, at high speeds of 184 in the corners.
Man, they are ripping that wall, man. I am so interested to see how this works coming to the end of the race, because it's working, and I can't tell whether it's the drivers making it work or whether there is something new to where the wall actually has some pace, because I've seen the wall work much more than I was expecting. I don't know about you, JP, but it's had a lot more speed than I was expecting this evening.
Now, keep in mind, there was a few builds ago, I think it was, Nick, where they added side draft abilities and side forces from the wall.
Yep.
So this may be coming into play where drivers are willing to work against the wall and are doing so. Carpenter, meanwhile, under the yellow line again in the 30 truck.
Yeah, and last time we saw that, somebody went around, so looks like we've avoided trouble this time. But my goodness, I don't know. They are all over the racetrack tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody make a pass down by the inside wall in the back straightaway by the end of the night.
Remember, no rule for that in FTF competition. And that's coming to play with Carpenter willing to do that as they wreck.
Oh, looks like, I don't know. Might just be a few trucks. I think they kept it together for the most part.
Bit of a jump for Johnson as he tries to save it. He says he's good. We're under yellow either way. From an incident in the heart of the pack, Mike McConville and several drivers who have led laps and been up at the front involved.
Man, I tell you what, the 23 did an incredible job not hitting anybody else for the most part. When you get clipped like that and you're heading back into traffic, I can't tell you how hard it is to lock it down and stay out of the racetrack. And he did an incredible job keeping it down there, because that just saved a lot of people's days right there. And it looks like I might have some contact with Butler. Nope. Yeah, well, yes, but...
There were 2 bits, actually, of contact, I think, there. Johnson actually went big time down several lanes with contact there. I believe that was with Fallon. Then this contact triggers the caution flag.
Boy, it looked like the wreck was going to be back there with Carpenter pushing Mikola, but it ended up being just a little bit farther up from that. Looks like Malillo got involved. It doesn't look bad. Let's ride on board here. Let's see what Justin saw. Justin's usually got a pretty good seat for these. He's either missing them barely or gets clipped by somebody. He does not have the best luck, but he misses this one. Really good job.
Stripes down to the apron and misses all the carnage on the racing surface.
Speaking of driving down to the inside wall.
Yeah, electing to drive down the middle of the back straightaway in the apron. 54 laps to go this time by the way, for our drivers.
Looks like Frisch was throwing some pretty aggressive blocks right there, right before that caution. I wouldn't have been shocked if they made it to turn 2 that Jordan Worth and Michael Frisch were not going to have some contact the way they were looking.
Drivers coming into the pit lane this time with 54 laps to go. And this would essentially, if my calculations are right, make it a one-stopper to the end here on the gas, I believe, Nick.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I know we kind of scoffed it off at the beginning, but we are not halfway yet. And there is an hour 7 left on the clock. There was a full 2 hours when we did roll off the grid. So if this keeps up at this rate, we could be racing to the clock and not 94.
See how that plays into the factors here. Of note, Jake Poulin stayed out this time. The race up the pit road was led by Hagenstein, followed by Painter, Justice, Hardcastle, and Frisch. 4 tires from 4th on back in the race for the overall pylon for our drivers. Now joining us in the broadcast booth, and what's been an eventful one so far, is Justin Malillo in the 53 truck. He's currently getting some repairs down in pit road at the moment. Justin, how are you feeling down in that ramped truck tonight?
Feeling really good, Justin. The truck is very racy. We got a little bit of damage from that first caution, but it's still driving pretty good.
Yeah, Justin, I gotta ask, how are you using these runs? Because these runs look massive out there. Much more than I've seen in just regular fixed racing. That the runs that y'all are getting are massive, and the blocks have been, just as massive. So how are you coping with that and making things happen out there?
It's tricky because you got guys who are not going to lift, and you got guys that are going to play calculated, and with this series being as new as it is, with FTF and iRacing and everything, it is interesting to find out who's going to push all the buttons and who's going to lay back. So I'm learning things about drivers that I didn't know about before, and I feel like by the end of this race I'm going to have a better understanding of who I'm going to have to push to get back to the front when that time comes.
Yeah, and you're sitting on that faster pair as well, so I'm very curious to see. I've been telling JP about this, just how many guys might be dropping out of the race by the end, given all the wrecks we've seen so far. And you've kept that thing relatively clean. Obviously races well, other than that first caution. You look like you're getting it done out there.
Yeah, sometimes it's weird because you get a little bit of a parachute effect. Even if you breathe the throttle just for a second, it'll just drop you back a couple of tenths of a second. But for the most part, it's the truck is driving fine, and I'm trying to save that fast repair until the very last minute. If I don't have to use it, I'm not going to, because I can get to the lead as it is right now. But it's interesting, and I hope I'm there at the end.
Now, you mentioned wanting to get there to the end. Overall, what do you feel it's going to take for you to be the driver who goes to victory lane for tonight's race?
I don't know, Justin. I think it's going to be all about survival and missing the wrecks and keeping that fast repair as long as possible, because I feel like we're not done wrecking yet. We're going to probably have another wreck here probably within the next, I don't know, hopefully not 5 to 10 laps, but probably 5 to 10 laps, and I just hope I'm not in it. I feel like after halfway, the field's definitely going to start thinning out, and I want to be one of those guys that is still on the track when this ends up going to the end.
Thank you for your time, Justin. We'll let you focus back on the race truck.
Thanks,
Yep, good
guys.
luck, buddy.
Thank you.
That's Justin Mallow, currently scored in the 20th position at the moment for what's expected to be an interesting restart, especially with Jake Poulin electing to stay out this time. He's got a 12-lap difference on the fuel tank, so would need a quick caution flag of about 15-20 laps to make sure he can pit with the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see. I mean, I don't think it'll be too big of a difference. Like Justin said, I wouldn't be shocked if we see another yellow very soon. I don't know. I think he'll be all right. If we make it through the rest of this fuel run, I'd be very surprised.
Especially with 52 laps to go this time by. Still plenty of laps up on the board. Not at the halfway mark quite yet. It's Tristan Hagenstein, though, on the outside. And despite the damage, that truck's been very quick, it seems, with help. Green flag's back out. Off and away we go.
Much like we saw from Jordan earlier, Jake has decided to get on the gas a little early, and looks like no, Justice is going to go around Hagenstein, perhaps to hook up with Frisch, and they're gonna try and get it done out there. Those are two clean trucks out there, so we'll see what they're able to do off of turn 2. The tandem racing, like we saw earlier, JP, it seems to be taking effect.
3 trucks in the bottom, 3 on the top, and to the race lead goes Derek Justice. After having to fix the back end of that truck earlier on in this race, Frisch now to second, Poulin jumps up to the top, and now we might see the top line prevail once again because Justice has made it clear this is the type of race he wants to play.
Yeah, and it looks like everybody else seems to want to play the same game. We'll see how long I know we've been saying this all night, how long they're going to stay up there, but oh boy, yep, well there you go. Poulin's going to pull out.
Working with Andrew Hardcastle now at the bottom of the racetrack with 51 laps to go. And the one thing Justin Mallow said that I also picked up upon is the on-throttle and off-throttle time going to be very important, especially with the time it takes to rebuild up some of these runs. We've seen that with these legacy trucks tonight compared to the modern trucks where the runs build up quickly. How about a big run there?
Oh my goodness, and into the wall. That was so hard of a push that the pusher hit the wall. That was Justice. And we're going to have fun with this Golden Girls truck all night, but Jordan Worth back to the point with all of his friends pushing him in the middle line.
Yes, indeed.
Just as I say that, they bailed out.
Yes, indeed, as there's that top line starting to come in as we look from the speed view. It's Sean Butler, scored 11th place at the moment, wanting to make his way to the front yet again.
And I know it's got to be on his mind that one hit and he's out of this race. It'd be hard to not have that on my mind, but he seems to put that aside, you know, for the most part, and just go and race, which I really do respect.
Yeah, it just is how Butler races at these types of speedways and super speedways, and it works in a lot of cases for him.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, you see up at the front, Worth has moved to the bottom of the racetrack to work with Andrew Hardcastle now. Anishu is now in the middle line leading that group. Justice is still leading the top and a bit dicey.
Oh, we got
with some
trouble
of
in the back. Isaac Johnson got turned there by the 55. Looks like a 4-wide move gone bad there. Mike Fallon kind of shoved his nose in there where maybe it shouldn't have gone, unfortunately, and got into the 33.
That brings out the caution once again, as we'll take a look at what happened here, and yep, 4 wide, not the best of moves.
Oh, wow, Butler almost got right hooked there. I can't even tell you. I think he got hit, but he made it through, and that was by some miracle that Sean Butler is still in this race, because that was close.
Can confirm that Butler does have damage as a result of this incident. You see the contact with the left rear quarter panel. That little hit right there is where Butler gets the damage.
Boy, and I can't even tell you what that feels like when you're able to keep driving after something like that. When you drive out the other side after getting hit in the right rear like that at speed, you're feeling really, really lucky, and you're counting your blessings that you're still in the race after getting hit right there, because 9 times out of 10 that truck is going to take a hook back into that outside wall, and you'll be done for the day. So Butler definitely got lucky there, and he'll be able to fix his truck and race another lap here.
We only ran a few laps in Jake Poulin's call, seen him shuffled to 11th position as here we go again. Drivers electing to pit, others electing to stay out. Jordan Worth, Andrew Hardcastle, Mikua among those drivers electing to stay out. Several others towards the back electing to stay out as well.
Yep, as we are starting lap 47, we are just now going to be hitting halfway, one more lap around. So at this rate, we might not finish all 94 laps. We're going to need to run some green flag racing here for a little while to let the clock catch back up, because we are now under an hour and we are not at halfway quite yet.
Cosman was the first driver off the pit lane, by the way, off and away with a 6-second stop. Justice 14.9 seconds below, electing to take 2 tires, but 6 trucks elect to stay out this caution flag period. We'll take you side by side. You're watching STN Racing for the virtual Talladega Superspeedway.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
'23 trucks still remain on the racetrack at halfway this time by, as we welcome you back to STN Racing's coverage of FTF SNSL. Acceptance on Fridays. What's been some eventful racing so far, to say the very least, here at Talladega Superspeedway. Justin Prince, Nick Olson with you with Zach Johnson in the director's seat as we get ready to go back to racing with 46 to go. The green flag flies this time by. It's Jordan Worf who's in the race lead. Hardcastle, Mikula along with Painter, your top 4 who stayed out. Also staying out was Breitschoff and Short. This caution flag period. Cosman Ionishu is the first driver who came off the pit lane. We're now up to 25 lead changes on the night over those 47 completed laps so far, with 6 caution flags so far.
Yeah, we've seen quite the event so far. I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but it has been a lot of wreckage this evening. 6 cautions, and we are just now halfway. We're going to see if this cleans up some. It's pretty incredible that this many drivers are still in the field right now and not out of this race. And I can tell you that the drivers themselves are not terribly thrilled about how this race is going. I know we talked about having fun earlier in this race, JP, but it sounds like the fun factor may have wore off for some of these folks who have been collected in some early incidents.
The last of the incidents, by the way, is to Isaac Johnson. He is now out of the race. That brings us, as mentioned, 23 trucks running. 4 are currently out who started the race. Johnson, Williams, Bendicio, and O'Neill so far. But Worf is all set to control the field here once more. That Golden Girls truck has shown a lot of pace, to say the least, tonight. And it's got a lot of friends. The friends wave goodbye as Worf goes off and away.
Oh my goodness, and there, just like earlier, there he goes again. We're gonna see if he's able to hold on this time. Definitely, he got a better start than he did earlier. He's got a much bigger lead, and the field seems a lot more spread out as well than earlier. So we're gonna see here is Mikola is gonna get a push here, and then you got a tandem up high.
Oh, Worf's trying to block 2 lanes at once.
Oh, he's gonna get split.
Yes, indeed. Split right up the middle as several more trying to dart around. All while Hardcastle moved to the race lead. Worf now trapping Cosman behind him in the 84 truck. Now to the bottom of the racetrack in the race lead. It's Painter now with the help of the 3 truck as they shuffle around several rows, forming up 3 wide.
Now let's give a call to Jack Painter. He's been up there all night, just kind of hanging out. Taking the runs, like we said earlier, that's going to be the key to victory tonight. Just take the runs where they can go. And Painter's got a clean truck, and he's been putting it where it needs to be, and he's up front right now.
Now Carpenter, meanwhile, though, has a push to give to Derek Justice. Those 2 are teammates for this year's eNASCAR iRacing Road to Pro qualifying series. And Norris Force says now, just as I start that sentence, Carpenter ditches him.
Oh, wow. The 3 gave a huge shot to Painter there. And yeah, it looks like the 56 has said, I had enough, and I am bailing out. I think he has used his fast repair already this evening. So I honestly think he can afford to lose the draft, too. I know he probably doesn't want to, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world even if he did, because by the time he gets lapped, the way this race is going, we will have been under caution already.
Carpenter was one of the drivers involved in that first incident, seen the damage, picked up initial incidents. He's now in the race lead, as now that top, once again, owned by Jordan Worf for the time being. And it's looking like the preferences have almost changed a little bit from some of these drivers, where they preferred the top line early on. Now they almost prefer the bottom line. A couple of the drivers who are trying to start the top, while others who prefer the bottom to start now prefer the top.
Yeah, I tell you, and where these guys are pushing is so important. When you get to the car in front of you, when you're giving that push, is so critical to the success of your line as well. That was really tight there as we're riding on board. Hicks is getting to Jordan right on corner exit, which could be a good thing if you hit him square. But if you don't hit him square and perhaps Jordan slides up a little bit, oh, we got trouble. Frisch.
And
Jordan,
Derek Justice
Derek
involved.
Justice.
Malillo, several more, McConville. And we're back under yellow, and we're still outside the estimated range on the gas.
Oh, my goodness. Derek got stuck in the wall. He's going to have to tow. That's unfortunate. Wow, there was a lot of good trucks got taken out right there. That sure looked like one of those push gone bad situations that I was explaining as the wreck happened. That's what it looked like. So we'll see what the Bar Visuals replay here is going to show us.
They were trying to go 4 wide yet again of note up on that top line just about to try and get around the 87 of Roberts. And you'll see it on the entry of the tri-oval. A big run from McConville and Justice goes horribly wrong on that top groove.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Here he goes to the outside. So he's gotten there, and look at that. Yep, just a push at the wrong spot. I mean, Justice, not really much Justice can do, as Malillo almost added to our Splash and Go graphics flip counter. Looks like Justice just got in the back of the 24 in the wrong spot. Nothing he could do there. And then you're just along for the ride. And just like we saw earlier, like I was mentioning with Sean Butler, if you're able to get hit in that right rear and not get hooked, then that's something. But Looks like Frisch was not very lucky, as looks like Butler missed that. We're going to need to ride on board if we can, because that was something right there.
The words from Butler, watch my cockpit, LOL. I think there's going to be good reasoning for that. Let's take a look at Painter first. This is up towards the front, where things were shaping up calm.
Yeah, now we're looking for it. There we go.
There's
the 24.
Rather, McConville.
Well, this will be an interesting one. He's going to get to the outside of the 87 here, and then just boom. And there's just nothing you can do. You're along for the ride at that point. That is, it's just so fast. Just in a couple of seconds, you go from making a pass to you're backwards in the wall. Watching trucks fly over. Here we go with Sean Butler. I don't know if the Allstate Good Hands move of the race still exists, but this might be one. Oh my goodness.
The seas parted and he found a hole, but he did pick up damage. That could have been much worse though.
We'll see if that damage might have been from earlier, in that earlier incident. I don't know if the front end ended up getting nailed. Maybe a little bit of right front.
Yeah, I know his back end is a little bit more destroyed. Let's put it that way right now on his truck. So the 32 picks up a bit of damage, but is able to avoid significant damage potentially in that incident. 41 laps to go this time by. The drivers who pit were about 9th on back. Cosman, Anishu in that position. Hagenstein, Roberts, Martin was the first 4 off the pit lane, all taking tires. Damage repair picked up for Corey Carpenter as well as from Brightshoff under the caution flag period.
Boy, I'll say one thing: as many wrecks as we might have had tonight, the real life is not going much better by the looks of it. There has been calamity out in Las Vegas as well, so. Maybe it's just something in the air tonight. Everybody's racing awful aggressive here.
I have to say, Jordan Wirth has played this race very interestingly so far. He's been early on the launches, yes, but he's been aggressive, but also it seems like a smart aggressive at times so far tonight. We talked about Wirth, of course, known for his super speedway racing in his streams as well. Done a very solid job with Brian Hicks now to his outside.
Yeah, and something I was saying about Jordan is Jordan, I think we had a wreck when I was making this point earlier, but Jordan prides himself on these super speedway races. I know he takes it real serious. I know one week, might have been at Talladega, might have been Daytona, but he ran until he won a race, which I thought was really, really fun. I think he ran 30 or something, 30 races, and then as soon as he won one, he quit for the week. So he's, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. He's one of the best plate racers you'll find on this sim, and one of the best overall guys. Obviously, really involved in the community, doing bottom split and things like that. He's just very active, and that's always good to see when those people perform.
Yet they do a lot of the Cup Series side of things for FTF this season. As you can see, he's having a lot of fun with Brian Hicks, saying hello to him in the best way he can using the truck by feeding him the door up the entire racetrack. 40 to go. This time, Painter in Hardcastle row 2. Behind them as well, it's going to be Makua, along with Fallon, Clapper, Butler, Hagenstein, Anishu, your top 10 for this restart. And the clouds are starting to form over the racetrack as well. In sim time approaching 4:30. Track temp has dropped to 80 degrees.
Yeah, I'm not real sure how that's gonna affect the race. Maybe we'll, cloud cover will provide more grip, obviously for these drivers, but I haven't seen very many guys get loose. The winds look like they're dying. Looks like north now at 5 mile an hour northeast. Somewhere between 4 and 7 seems to have been constant throughout the race. So we'll see here as we keep going. These tires get a little bit more worn. Maybe we'll see tire spin, but I don't know. These guys seem pretty steady on these restarts as long as they get through the gears. We're going to see again right now.
And just as the pace car goes off, Jordan Wirth is off as well. Brian Hicks following suit as the green flags back out. We're underway with 40 laps to go in tonight's action here from Talladega and FTF SNSL.
Yeah, we are down to 44 minutes in the race, so like I said earlier about running laps, we're going to need to start running laps now if we want to be able to finish this race, because at speed we're running about 50-second lap times. So we're not working with very much time. Definitely closer than I guess these guys wanted to cut it, but we're gonna see what happens here. Usually when this second group catches the lead group is when you'll see some action. So I'm curious to see what happens. As here comes Butler there in the middle in that second lane with Cosman. We're gonna see what those guys can do. A lot of really good contenders still out there.
A couple tandem groupings forming up at the front of the field at the moment. The estimated time remaining is getting closer and closer for these drivers. 3 wide for the race lead again. Butler, with the help of Cosman, wanting to get to the point despite that damage.
Look at this. Here comes, Sean Butler. Say what you will about that bumper. I'll leave the jokes to someone else, but here they come on the outside. Now that's something you got to keep tabs on. Pushing when you have a big dent like that in that back bumper like Butler has. If Cosman catches him in the wrong spot, that could be trouble. A little easier than it might be if somebody had just a regular clean bumper.
Yeah, it can make it very difficult to push the back end of that respective truck. Let's put it that way. As Jordan Wolf moves up to the middle line, now trying to work with that 22 truck. Hardcastle's done a very solid job the second half of this race so far, rather the second third of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely risen to the occasion here. Sometimes it takes a couple of yellows and you let some guys get eliminated, and then you feel comfortable getting up in the middle of it. And he certainly has.
And the bottom split 1-2-3 that formed up for a quick moment is now a 1-2-4 for the time being. Hardcastle now moves up the middle line. Painter now trying to give the shove this time. 3 wide racing, several rows deep once more, but that momentum from that top line has been big all throughout the day. Jordan Worth uses it to get back to the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely chaos brewing here, as it has all day. Jordan continues to lead. Actually, the most organized. I think the bottom has looked all day. I don't know if you agree there, JP. Right as I say that, here goes Jordan to the outside. We're 4 wide again. So I'm going to stop making predictions.
It's called the commentator's curse. We've seen plenty of them tonight. Back to 3 wide. Hagenstein has been willing to shoot through the gap. Whenever it's open to the left of drivers, he does that with Wolf. And that's also something you have to be careful about, because if you leave too much space between trucks, drivers are willing to be aggressive and take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. My goodness, yeah, Mike Campbell here was involved in a couple of wrecks here tonight. That same situation, I would argue, almost worse spot for damage than we saw from Butler. Is wow, look at Butler going 4 wide right now on his own. But it's really easy when you have that big of a dent in that rear bumper, especially in the corner like Campbell has. If that 22 catches him in the wrong spot, that could be game over really fast.
36 to go this time by, and now Hicks still your race leader. Here comes McConville meanwhile. Now has that fresh truck, trying to use that truck to his advantage, and this is also going to have to be where he needs to be careful. He got some help from the 68 this time behind the corner.
Boy, I don't know if we're picking winners yet, but I would really venture to say that Jordan's been doing a heck of a job, and I don't believe he's been in a wreck tonight. So I'm really looking at these guys who still have those faster pairs, who are able to be aggressive and stay aggressive, which Jordan has been all day, to stay up there up front. It looks like we're catching a lap truck here. Looks like he was at 37.
Ryan Naraki.
Yeah.
Ryan Naraki out of the way, and no one impeded there, it looks like, in that progress, as all the drivers move up 2 wide once more for 35 laps to go.
Yep, here goes Hagenstein down low. He doesn't have any help, though. I don't know. Let's see if he gets clear of Jordan. I don't think he's going to get there. Hicks is going to come down and pick him up.
And And this is what we call controlling the bubble here right now from Brian Hicks. Going from that bottom all the way to the top. It's something you see a lot in real-world racing in particular, Nick. We've seen it play out a couple times tonight. Now,
on the sim, you got guys who will try it, and they will continue to try it. Brian did a pretty good job right there. I think that if he continues to drive like that, that can continue to work. But you got guys who might, and we'll see this in fixed racing all the time. You can attest to this, JP, who will try and, be the Pied Piper, and it just will not work for them in certain positions. So it's all about controlling that bubble, like you said, but also keeping your head on your shoulders and making sure you're making the right blocks at the right time.
And being smart, absolutely, with those moves. Jordan Worf now up at the front, meanwhile. As the pack is starting to dissipate a little bit, it seems here. All of a sudden, the top 9 is starting to break away a touch.
Now something we haven't really seen tonight is what these engine temps are able to handle. This 24 has been tucked under Jordan for quite a while, and I know he has the opportunity to cool it down, but I do wonder if we are going to see a situation in which that's going to be a factor later on if we get a late restart, to where temperatures could get into the danger zone, and you never want to blow a motor in front of the field.
Yeah, that's going to be very critical, and drivers were talking about in practice where they were overheating after a couple laps of pushing.
And this 24 has been tucked under Jordan for quite a while, so I'm really curious to see. Oh, here he goes. He's going to get some air now, but I was really curious to see what his temps were looking like, because he was under Jordan for quite a while there. Oh, look at this! Wow. Oh, they're gonna make it. Nope.
Oh, and the wrecking. No. Hicks is around in the middle of the racetrack. Several more crash to the safer barrier. Caution flag is out once again, with 32 to go this time by. Man. And they're still piling up in turn 3.
Hagenstein again. Oh my gosh, he's been the victim of the night, because I don't believe he's caused one of these incidents, but I feel like he's been caught up in at least 3 of them.
It's been a rough one for the driver who won the opening race of the season for his first win in FTF. But we'll see if he ends up having a faster pair still in the bank in that 27. 23 also taking a huge hit to the inside wall. The Bars visual replay is going to see a lot of visual incidents, to say the very least. A lot of drivers taking some massive collisions in this incident.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's take a look here.
And it all really started at the front, where you see Worth get out of shape. That gets a bit into McConville, and they all shuffle behind him.
It's almost like Hicks tried to chase Jordan down to stay on him, and then he made contact with the 23 there. Oh, the 55 takes a hard hit right there. 23 does hit hard there, but definitely looks manageable. But my goodness, that was quite the wreck right there.
Take a look at this here for the drivers at the back. This is the second pack here we're talking about with Hagenstein, where he's just trying to ride along, and then the calamity ensues in front, looking like things are going to be okay. Then they crash in the checkup.
Oh, no, that's the worst. And that's going to be a faster pair, I think, for Hags. I'd be shocked if he doesn't use a faster pair after that kind of a hit. But looks like the 87 didn't quite get the memo that there was a wreck going on, and got into poor Hags.
Well, this is the reason for the checkup. You see that 3 truck slide up there, along with Hicks spinning along. That's where the rest of these trucks collide in, where I don't think they realized or expected there to be several trucks still in the racing group. They expect them potentially to still slide down.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a situation like that, I always play it safer. I'd rather play it safe than sorry. You just don't know. If you see smoke up there, I would just lift and make sure that I'm not getting run over from behind. That would be my focus. My eyes would go right to the mirror and making sure that I'm not going to get run over. And unfortunately for Hagenstein, he kind of got stuck in a sandwich right there.
Pit stops have taken place for the entire field, as once again these drivers can make it tightly from here. It's going to be the interesting mark of the green-white checkers from this point. If we get to that point, is going to be the key thing on time. Coming up to 30 to go, Justin Maluo was the first driver off, taking 2 tires, rather fuel only, I believe, was 6.4 seconds in the box. 2 tires from Painter, rest of the field 4 tires this time. Butler did get damage repair done for 20 seconds in total in his pit box.
Yep, and as you did say, we are 31 to go right now, 34 minutes left on the clock. There's a good chance we can make it to regulation at this rate, but I'll tell you, overtimes, I don't know how exactly the sim treats situations like that, whether the race can end under caution if the clock is going to run out, but I would definitely keep an eye on that clock. I'm very, very curious to see how this race finishes, given that situation.
It can depend really on situation to situation. There's been one-lap shootouts in the past. There's been green-white checkered situations in the past with the clock. Keep in mind there's 5 green-white checkers available if necessary, and the pace laps here are 2 minutes each. So that's also going to be something to keep in mind for some of these drivers tonight. But 30 to go to reset your top 10. It's Malua, Painter, McConville, Worth, Ionishu and Carpenter, Mertzda and Hardcastle, Martin and Butler, your top 10. Coming up to the restart. By the way, the driver you see in front is Michael Frisch. He's taking a wave around for Michael Frisch. This would get him back on the lead lap. He would need an air caution to be able to stay on said lead lap. And at this rate, he might get one.
Yeah, I would definitely put my money on Frisch being able to get that. But another thing to keep tabs on is how, well, it looks like, is he going to get a wave around here?
Yes, he's taking the wave.
Okay. So we'll see what happens, but he cannot get involved in the accident. iRacing's algorithm will take the lucky dog away from you if you get any kind of incident. So you really got to be careful and make sure that you're keeping your truck clean and that you're missing cautions if they do take place.
What a job by Malua, though, to be able to recover from some of the incidents today to now being in the race lead.
Yeah, you do love to see that. Like we were saying earlier, came down, hung out with us in the booth for a little while, but it's good to see Justin have a good night. A lot of racing to go here, but we've seen him miss some wrecks, get collected in one early, but he's run a really good race so far. So I'm really curious to see how the rest of his night goes.
Of note, by the way, 22 trucks are still remaining in the race. Derek Justice is your most recent DNF from the last caution flag period. The NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver, like we finished this race, scored in 23rd position. Who else has caught your eye throughout the night and how this played out here?
Somebody I gave a shout to earlier that I think is going to be hard to beat, somebody I didn't really have pegged as a contender to start, is Jack Painter. I thought he's done a great job out there tonight in the Tide Ride, keeping the truck clean and, you know, just staying out of trouble. I think he's got a real shot to do some good here. He's been able to manage the runs, and obviously Jordan Worth's somebody that we could take a look at, but definitely I got Painter as a guy who can get out there and win this race.
The iRacing pace car dropping off this time. 29 laps to go on the board. And the green flag flies and they get to the stripe. 31 minutes are on the clock as well. Off and away goes Justin Malua. An decent launch, but is it too big of a launch as the rest of the bottom line taking a couple seconds to react?
Boy, is that Justin Malillo or Jordan Worth out there? It looked like getting a jump on that restart, but it looks like Justin maybe got to fourth a little too soon, but it might work out for him because now the second on the inside there, it's like McConville is kind of trapped in there, so it might work to Malillo's benefit here as we round turn 2.
Giving a push is McConville as he backs up now to get some air on the nose. One more driver gets shuffled out of the middle, 3 wide. That is Painter who gets shuffled out. Worf now working with Carpenter up against the wall.
And you got Hagenstein back in this pack here, just used his faster pair after that last incident. At this point, you know, we have a lot of drivers who have used their faster pairs, so if these yellows keep up at this rate, we're going to see some drivers start dropping out of the race at this rate.
Here comes Sean Butler, meanwhile, ready to make his way back up to the front. A big head of steam with a big checkup from Butler after the push from Hagenstein.
Boy, Jordan is driving a heck of a race right now. controlling the lanes. We were talking about controlling the bubble, and Jordan's done a good job of that tonight. And it's been people behind him trying to react to it, it seems, that's caused the incidents. But wow, I'm so impressed by how Jordan's driving here, and Melillo with him. And here comes Butler, just hanging around with Hagenstein now with a clean truck. And it looks like Sean has fixed his truck quite a bit from the last time we saw it.
Yeah, that rear end was really crushed in on the right side before. Now is a bit more smoothened out. At the moment, Painter has also found a way to hook up on the top line with them. But they're going to have to try and block, because here comes Cosman with a big run.
Wow, and he got to the bottom, so that worked out for him. But oh, they're going to stack up. Looks like they made it. Oh, man, Cosman's driving very determined right now. I'm loving the drive out of the 84.
Warthel wants to try and hold up the momentum as Melillo gets hooked. Here we go again as the caution's out. Big wreck as several drivers scatter and collide on the apron.
And oh, is Hicks gonna? Hicks is gonna hit the wall. Oh my goodness, that is gonna take some folks out of the race. Unfortunately, it looks like Melillo might have gotten a bad push. Is what I'm gonna guess. That's gonna be my conjecture before seeing this replay. But my goodness, a lot of the leaders that we've seen dominating this race. I think Jordan took a nice hit to the inside wall. Yeah, let's check out the replay here.
Replay once again presented by Bar Visuals, and I think your first synopsis may be correct here potentially, because it wasn't lined up center between Melillo and McConville. McConville takes the lead as a result, but at least 5 to 8 trucks minimum get involved with damage here, as you'll see from above.
Yeah, let's see here. Big run by McConville, so we're going to see what he could do with it. Looks like, oh yeah, just puts the bumper right to his right rear, which never works, unfortunately. They just were not lined up, and man, that's a tough break for a lot of drivers.
Yep, you'll see once again from in full speed, Butler among the drivers who had to try and dodge hard hit.
Oh, good move by Hagenstein to miss that. That might be a good onboard to check this out. Just riding on the wall, just watching it all take place behind him. Or next to him. Here we go. So up on the wall, you got Tristan here. So you're going to see McConville there on the bottom. He's going to get that run right at Melillo, and they just don't get lined up the way they should. And it's going to get into Cosman, who you see right there, and Butler. All these guys were in the wreck, and my goodness, what a miss. And Tristan survives one and gets to race another lap here, live another day. That's a great miss right there. And most super speedway incidents, the driver who might be the one to tip it off their bumper usually misses it.
Mike McConville led majority of the field to the pit lane, though. Short and Painter were the only drivers not to duck down, and it looks like for many of these drivers, maybe the thought process is either get the trucks fixed, obviously, or in some cases, top off in case we get the green-white checkers, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely going to see it as we still have 2 to go until the restart. Looks like we're on lap 70 right now. It's got 25 to go, and there are 25 minutes on the clock. So we have finally hit that number that I was speaking of for a while now. The number of laps has hit the number of minutes. And these caution laps, by the time we go back green, we are going to have more laps to go than minutes on the clock. So my prediction of finishing this race in regulation might not come to pass here. This is actually looking like it's getting kind of dark here in Talladega.
Yeah, here's an interesting question. Say it gets to this mark, have you experienced something like this where you've gone to near complete darkness at Talladega before?
So my good friend Robbie Lyons, who I think is watching, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, he puts up these radical races with the radical cars, and we will race on NASCAR ovals at night. Now there are headlights, so you do have that little bit of an advantage as far as vision, but That's the best you can get. I have driven here at night before. It is just as scary as it is during the day. And it's the same result. A lot of carnage. So as the sun starts to peek down below the front stretch grandstands, it's getting a little dark here in Talladega.
Someone you're actually competing with too for this year's Road to Pro qualifying series too, correct?
Yep. He's on my team. We're really excited to be part of Kligerman Sport this year. Kligerman Sport dev team. Obviously, the boss man's out racing in Las Vegas right now. Last I checked, is in the top 5. Having a good night. So hopefully he brings it home, brings home a win, and we're really excited to be a part of Kligerman Sport this year. We got about 7 or 8 of us part of the team this year, and we're going to make a push for it. We'll see what comes of it.
By the way, we talked about Michael Frisch and how he took a wave around that last caution flag. Want to see if we can take a look at what happened with his truck to be able to avoid trouble here. We'll take another look here. Once again, the 58 machine is at the back of the field here. Remember, just had already used the fast repair. Had to take a wave around. Was off cycle on the fuel. And then...
man. This 55 is about to be in the wreck. I saw him hit the inside wall, so we're going to see what happened. Oh, wow. Oh, look at this. Oh, what a drive by Michael P. Frisch. I called him Michael P. Frisch. He's going to get mad at me for that one. But what a drive. And now I take it that means he got his lap back and he's back in business. So, and look at that field, JP. Dwindling down.
Out with that caution flag, Jordan Worf. Still, Mike Fallon getting repairs done, has not officially left the race, is still in the garage area. So we're down to 20 drivers on the lead lap for this restart. It's Short and Painter in control of the field this time, Hagenstein and Mirza, along with Mikula and Martin. Then it's Cosman, Ionishu, and Poulin, Frisch, and Hicks. You're now top 10 at the moment. By the way, remember, some of those drivers that are up there, 2 of them in particular, finished in the top 5 at iRacing Super Speedway in the Cup cars last round.
Yeah, typically a lot of these guys who run well at places like iRacing Super Speedway, which is a track of the likes we've never seen before, on iRacing at least. Obviously, it's been in other platforms, but it breeds a certain kind of racing that is unlike anything you'll find anywhere else, in my opinion.
Way to go. As you take a look at your track weather, it's continuing to cool on down. 76 degrees Fahrenheit, the air temp, 79 now the track temp. Wind starting to die off a touch bit as we approach 5 p.m. in sim time. iRacing pace car is off. Green flag waves. We're back on our way again with 23 to go. And a good launch for Short and Company.
Here comes Painter. I tell you, that 51's got a good bit of damage. I don't know whether that's hindering him at all, but I would imagine it's not very good. Here goes Hags. What a move.
Tristan Hagenstein has had a stellar night of trouble, but also whenever he's been running good, and now he leads the top line. Looking like we're going back towards that top grouping here now for these trucks to start off this run as Painter ditches him.
Yeah, but he's going to need some help, which I don't think he's going to get, unless he can pull, I can't believe I'm saying this, a Talladega slider. Pull down to the bottom, make the route shorter, and get back up in front. No, I think, no, Hagenstein's going to get there.
And usually you need to pull a little bit of a side draft, though, to try and pull them back as well on top of things as Hagenstein gets the lead lap. Jake Poulin is now in second.
Where did he come from? It felt like after he made that fuel strategy, we hadn't seen much of him, but with 20 minutes left on the clock here, it is time to go. I know we've been using the lap counter, but I think if we get another yellow, we are firmly in the territory of we need to be looking at the clock before we be looking at the lap counter.
22 to go, 20 minutes on the clock, this time by. Right now the top 5 is Hagenstein, Poulin, Frisch, Mirza, and Ionishu at the moment. Carpenter is currently back up to 6th position, trying to run that bottom line with 4 trucks at the moment. Back to the middle line as he goes for the side draft.
Yeah, wow, Hagenstein is definitely putting on a clinic right now. He's got that clean truck. I feel like he hasn't really had that clean truck since very early in the event when Butler and some others got collected, and you know, he's showing why he should be going 2 for 2 so far in FTF.
It's been a terrific time for him so far here in FTF competition for the Super Speedway Series. But that top line again prevailing. I think the drivers realize that if we get a caution flag, it may likely come down to that time with 19 minutes left to go. You can tell by where the trucks are, they're gaining about half a turn per lap turn at the moment on compared to that clock.
Yep, and that's it'll take about that to get there. I think they can do it. It's just if we get another yellow, I think it all but confirms that we're going to be racing the clock. Here comes Corey Carpenter now with Mikola, and is that McConville again, making a push down there on the bottom. Cosman's there. Frisch is back in the picture. These are the guys who, you know, it's going to take these guys wrecking, I would say, because they look pretty single file and spread out back behind them. So it's going to take some action here from this front 10 or so.
Now up to the front, though, it's Corey Carpenter with the help of McConville to the point. And we haven't talked much about Corey Carpenter. Your thoughts on how he's played this race tonight in the VRS truck?
Well, I like Corey Carpenter. I think he's a heck of a driver. I think he's a take no prisoners kind of driver, and that's what it takes to win in places like this. I remember earlier when he got forced on the apron and he did not budge, and whoever that, I think it was, I forget who it was at the moment, but just turned themselves. I think it was the 56. And
yes.
Yep, and that's the kind of driving that you need to have. You cannot lift in certain spots. In that situation, perhaps a different scenario, but if he was put in that situation tonight, coming to the flag up here in this situation, then that's the kind of driving you need to have to pull it off. You need to not be lifting or cutting any brakes for anybody. You got to go and get what you can get all for yourself.
They're reaching lap traffic, and Sean Butler, he's moved his way to the apron this time to let everyone go. Not going to be a factor. There are a couple drivers scattered across the circuit of note. You also have Hardcastle in 19th, Justin Mallow 18th, as well as 17th and 16th. Robertson Martin, who also lost the draft. So as Breitschoff and Brian Hicks. 13 drivers separated by 1.4 seconds at the moment, as here comes Michael Frisch now on the outside.
3 clean trucks out there making a push, and Frisch is gonna get clear, I think. Nope, barely not clear, but they are ripping it out there, and we are ditching the wall. We are now moving to the middle and the bottom, a conventional style plate race by the looks of it. 17
to go this time by.
And 16 minutes on the clock. Boy, I tell you, we are gonna be on the number right now as it is. So this is crazy.
So when do you get to the point where you start planning the move is the big question.
I'll be honest with you. The way this race has gone, any plan that I had at the beginning of the race, or even 2 laps ago, might be completely out the window. The way positions are changing constantly. So you really don't know what you're going to get. I mean, Carpenter could be leading right now, and then 1 lap from now, he could get shuffled and be back in 10th, just like that. I feel like the runs have been that massive, and the momentum has just been so large that people can kind of go where they want to go. McConville is proven to be a good pusher tonight. It's going to be interesting to see whether he's going to maybe make a move for himself. He's been a good pusher, but usually the good pushers are the ones that are able to pull out and make the move come to the flag.
They led by Justin Mallow, by the way, as he now moves his way to the top line. They're now down to 11 trucks in the lead pack. They have lost Cosman, Anishu, and Clapper in this group. Michael Frisch now getting darted around. He loses all his help, as well as Hagenstein, both of them dropping to the back of the train.
Yeah, they got 2 clean trucks. I'm not counting them out at all. I think by the looks of this, we're looking like we might be able to finish at this rate. They're pretty spread out. Poulin's up there with a clean truck. I would not be surprised if they just kind of cool it down and go back after it again.
So on that note then, you mentioned the plans being out the window for when you make the big move. When do you feel the intensity level is going to start picking back up again? Just as I say that, the 2 fresh trucks, they pick that intensity level back up a couple notches.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a game.
Oh, and somebody blew up.
And we were talking about it, and it was McConville blew his motor.
And they both slide up into the racing groove off the circuit.
Caution.
Now the caution.
Now
there it is.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and Cosman nearly full throttled into him.
Boy, my goodness. The 24 blew up, and he moved out of the way. And when he moved out of the way, the 68 had moved down, trying to get around him, and they kind of got together. That's a tough break right there. That's going to do it for McConville. What a great run he had going.
Let's take a look at the bar visuals replay, and the temps definitely coming into play for McConville, who pushed a ton this race.
And it's just going to blow up, I think, right there. Yep. Nope. 68 got help from behind. I missed on that one.
And they looked like it was going to be okay until the 68 came up into the racetrack just at the side of that yellow line.
Yeah, it looks like, boom, and then looks like Mikola got into him. Just nowhere to go. When you're checking up that big, it's just really hard to get checked up and get where you need to go quickly. And what a move by Cosman.
Did he actually get the chance to see where that incident was faring out?
I doubt it. I doubt it. When it happens that fast, if you're tucked up behind someone, which I'm pretty sure he was. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Malillo went to take the lucky dog, and that was almost a massive, massive accident.
Yeah, he went right through the middle of the race leaders.
And I tell you, he keyed up in the game and went, no. So he was definitely a little nervous there, because he must have thought that they were going to give him the bottom here. Let's ride on board. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, look at that. Oh, my goodness. That was almost catastrophic.
So it's likely coming down to time now, by the way. And several drivers staying out. 8th on forward staying out. Brian Hicks, the last of those trucks. The first of the trucks, Michael Frisch. Cosman, Carpenter, Short, Martin, Roberts, Clapper among the drivers who have come down to get additional tires, or in some cases, potentially use that fast repair if they've banked it. And I think a couple of them were banking on this caution flag to use it.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely the time where you want to just put all your cards out on the table and say, here's what we got. So if you're gonna take that fast repair, now is the time you're gonna want to do that.
Take the time to look at your upcoming events for STN Racing and what's going to be a busy weekend and busy next couple weeks, especially for FTF action, because the FTF's Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals hits the racetrack of the Bull Ring at Las Vegas tomorrow night. That's Saturday, March 6th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The next time this series hits the track is at Daytona International Speedway Friday, March 12th, but it's with the V8 Supercars. That's going to be interesting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Then FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals competition heads to Myrtle Beach Speedway on Saturday, March the 13th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Some interesting racing coming up, especially for the Grand National Series. And Nick, for you, I remember you competing, I believe, in the last race, actually, for FTF competition. What's your approach going to be for that race at the Bull Ring in Las Vegas if you're taking part?
Well, actually, I don't have the pleasure of being a part of this league, but I will say the Bull Ring in Las Vegas, I'll still give my thoughts on that, is purebred chaos. They call it the Bull Ring, and it drives like a bull ring. bumping and rubbing, short track racing. It's exactly what you're looking for at a short track. I hope, as the real truck race in Las Vegas takes the checkered flag, that eventually we see the real truck series out there at the Bull Ring. I think it's just a fantastic racetrack. A lot of lower series run there right now, but I think it's a wonderful place, and I'm glad we have it here on iRacing.
Yep. It's going to be interesting, absolutely. EOL penalty given to Malua by himself. You can guess why. But he is going to be at the end of the longest line either way as a result of the lucky dog. But there are under 10 minutes on the clock. Now, it's going to get interesting. Frisch, Hagenstein, Poulin, McCullough, Painter, Naraki, Campbell, Hicks, Short, Campbell, your top 10.
Yeah, a lot of these guys that we've been looking at, are still in the hunt. So I don't know. We're definitely racing the clock now as we're under 9 minutes left and 12 laps to go. So we are definitely racing the clock. So we're gonna have to see how this plays out as we get closer to the end. But I would like to invite you to make a pick here, JP.
I mean, with the 38 lead changes, it can go to anybody. But my pick, I'm thinking, with the way things seem to fare out in these types of races, Michael Frisch, I think, is the one I'm going towards. Nick, how about you?
I'm going to take Tristan Hagenstein. I know, wow, we're picking the front row. What hot takes from us. But if we're going to go outside this front row, I've been saying it all night. I think Jack Painter's raced a good race here tonight, driven a good race. And I think he's done a good job and staying out of trouble. So I actually still think he has his faster pair in his pocket. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's going to be really important here as the intensity is definitely going to go up. But as the cautions potentially could be coming, I don't know how this is going to work with the time, whether we might end under caution or whether we get a last restart anyway. Either way, 7.5 minutes on the clock, it's go time.
We're looking at potentially anywhere from 8 to 11 laps to close things out. We'll see how things fare out for these drivers. Frisch in control of the field. iRacing pace car is off as they go to the restart zone. Here we go. Green flag is out, backing away.
And there goes Frisch, and I would imagine his pushing buddy Hagenstein gets right down. Let's see.
Yes, he does.
And the 0-0 or the 0-0, how about that? Right with him in Poulin, and then Mikkola. So we're gonna see how they end up working this. Whether Hags is gonna go for it himself, or whether he'll stay with his buddy, because they've been working pretty well together all night.
No one making the moves quite yet. Currently, the estimate's going towards 8 laps this time by. That could all
barring
change.
another caution, yeah.
Yes. Here comes Brian Hicks, though. He's now got some help in the middle line.
And Brian, a guy who did not have the draft here after this last restart, lost a lot of time. Perhaps he still has a lot of damage, but the Jurassic Park ride. Oh, here comes Corey Carpenter. These two are guys that I think can get it done here. Carpenter and Cosman here. Let's see if somebody jumps up in front of them, because they have the momentum to go to the lead right now.
Up to 5 miles an hour quicker, these drivers this time as they go for the race lead with 6 minutes on the clock. Carpenter side by side with second. Frisch goes for the block. Frisch with contact. Bit of a checkup. Several drivers join the top. They go 3 wide for the race lead.
Yeah, he just couldn't block that last one. I think he knew that last block would have gotten him turned. So while he's going to lose all of his track position, Michael Frisch is still alive. Oh, wow. They're blocking even in the back now. You have to race every lap from here on out like it is the last lap, because you don't know what the clock is going to do. If you do get a caution, you have to race for the lead. At any moment now, the race could end. Because we're about 5 minutes left here.
Take a deep breath. 7 estimated laps to go. 10 officially down to 9 on the board. Hagenstein running the yellow line. As Carpenter still trying to work with Cosman. They have picked up the 3 machine as well. 2 by 2, 3 rows deep as they go near dead even down the middle of the backstretch.
I tell you, Hagenstein still's got. Oh wow, here comes the 51 with a great move down low. But Hagenstein still got that clean nose. Carpenter did damage his nose just a little bit when he got into Frisch. So that I'm wondering if that's worth even a mile an hour, because that'll mean something when you're leading the line.
Bit of a push this time again on the bottom line, and keep in mind the temperature is going to be very critical for these next 6 estimated laps for these drivers, and under 5 minutes to go. Hagenstein gets the lead lap this time.
Yeah, and like I said, we're just going to have to see what happens if the caution does come out, whether we get a restart or not. I think, you know, this is kind of uncharted waters, you know, as far as seeing something like this. But definitely the motors on Cosman and Jake for sure have to be boiling right now. Oh, and here goes Poulin. Nope, he was just cooling it off. That might give Carpenter the lead. Nope. Wow, that bottom's hanging in there strong.
They've got the numbers indeed to make it work, but the numbers are starting to grow on the top. Frisch has now worked his way back to the middle line. Closing stages estimate now works to 4 to go this time, under 4 minutes on the clock.
I will be shocked if one of these guys make it on their motors, because I don't know how, Cosman I haven't seen breathing it very much, and Jake is starting to breathe it now in the 000, but I'm very intrigued to see. Here goes Cosman now poking the nose out, but Carpenter's got to let him breathe it, or else they're gonna stall.
Michael Frisch has now found someone to push on the top, but it's a lap truck. Andrew Hardcastle is now going to work with Frisch on the top line, as we have now got a confirmation. Next caution ends the race.
So yeah, you are racing for every inch you can get right now. There is no give at all. It is all take, and that will likely end up in a caution. But at this point, I mean, Frisch pushing a lap truck, you take your friends where you find him at this point. We saw it in the heat race with the 55 helping, I think it was, there it is. And it is Corey Carpenter, I think. Yep, it's like the 30 and then Tristan, and then Cosman.
With the time limit, we are under 3 minutes to go. The caution flag again is out. The incident involving the Rocky as well as the 3 truck. Also involved in the incident is Mike Campbell, but it was Corey Carpenter who led at the time of the caution flag. The differential at the start and finish line when they were crossing the stripe and starting to wreck behind them, 0.016 seconds. Again, scoring is at the moment of the caution flag. It's Corey Carpenter who is unofficially in the race lead.
It looks like Hags is going to come home with a P2 here, and Cosman, after a wild race, is going to come home in 3rd. And I can't help but think, you know, all 3 of these guys were involved in incidents tonight and just persevered and came back and dug out of those holes that they were put in. Hagenstein especially, I mean, JP, how many wrecks was he in tonight? And just pushed through and got back up.
And what a finish to this one, too, and what a battle, and what a drive for Carpenter. Back and forth the field several times, it seemed, tonight.
Yeah, what a drive. Like I was saying earlier, you know, Corey has, he's going to give Sean Butler an assist here. I think this is about as fast as the 32 is able to go right now. But what a drive for Carpenter. You know, kind of kept his head down for the majority of the race, just kind of out of the picture, which is fine. That's kind of how you want to run these races, as long as you find yourself up here, you know, at the end when it counts. And sure looks like that's what he's done.
Get the chance to celebrate in just a few moments with 40 seconds now on the clock. The drivers out of the race are Mikula, along with Fallon and Brightsoff, as a result of the caution flag and incident. As several drivers fake pitting and have a bit of fun here, we might have one more pace lap before we get the checkered potentially here.
I'd imagine we're going to get the white flag here with 14. Well, let's see. It's literally, yeah, it looks like we're going to get the white. It's just by a couple of seconds.
So final few laps going to be coming up here as the pace lights stay on as the clock reaches zeros. Drivers expected to reach the indication these upcoming times by here. And some big movers throughout the night. Currently tentatively Short plus 21, Frisch plus 15, Naraki plus 17 as well, Nick.
Yeah, great drives by those guys. Obviously, Naraki, tough end to his night just now from the looks of it. Or actually, no, it looks like he's going to bring it home in 8th. He got caught up in the accident but kept it straight. He got put down a lap pretty late in the race, if I remember correctly, and he got a lucky dog and came back. Let's see, just stories here. Brian Hicks, after being in a lot of incidents tonight, bringing it home 9th, and it's just a product of this kind of racing. Justin Melillo finishes 13th after quite an eventful evening that saw him unfortunately getting hooked from P1. Yeah, let's take a look here. What we got here looks like Naraki's going to get turned. Who's at the 23? Yep. Oh, and Mikola looks like he had a bit of a lag incident there and then reappeared in the wreck. My pick, Jack Painter, got involved there. That's unfortunate. Man, yeah, he had to tow after that, so he looks like he's going to finish last car on the lead lap, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it just looks like Naraki washes up a little, and the 23 is just not able to keep with him. Oh my gosh, what a hit.
Some hard hits indeed for some of those drivers with some squished back ends as a result with the deck lids and truck beds.
Yeah, it looks like the 3 did have some kind of a lag incident because he kind of appears in the wreck already in progress. But the 56 is the one that took the hit, Breitschoff.
Yeah, but here is the moment of caution where you see that close differential. Again, this will all be reviewed. Again, drivers expecting to get the lights off this time.
We're getting the checkers here. Looks like, yep, lights are off. We have a race.
Yes, indeed. And here is the difference. And it's Carpenter who crosses the line first. See how things are scored for tonight's racing action.
Yep, it looks like iRacing. I mean, iRacing scores it how they score it. I mean, that does not miss. If you're in front of somebody at the moment of caution, iRacing will catch that and put you in the right spot. So I think we're looking at a correct rundown here, JP. I think we have a race.
See how things fare out overall, and it's Corey Carpenter again who crossed the line first with that differential of just a few truck lengths. The top 2, Carpenter, Hagenstein. For those respective drivers, the celebration begins for Corey Carpenter, though, as he burns it down in the grass.
And I tell you, 13 trucks finished on the lead lap tonight out of the 27 that started. Attrition was the name of the game by the end. Unfortunately, a few more guys got taken out by the end, but that's Talladega for you.
As Carpenter celebrates, get the chance to look at things as it is now official. Carpenter is your race winner. Carpenter has won race 2 of the FTF SNSL at Talladega.
Going to see his virtual pit guys. Oh, nope, he's gonna park it in his pit box and call it a day.
To the pit box he goes, to victory lane he'll celebrate in, though. As let's take a look at your race results for tonight. Again, unofficial at the moment for majority of the positions, but Carpenter, Hagenstein in P1 and P2, Cosman, Anishu in 3rd position, Jake Poole and Kyle Short, Michael Frisch, Adam Martin, Ryan Naraki, Brian Hicks, Jeremy Clapper, the top 10. No, Nick.
Yep, we got Mike Campbell here in 11th, Clint Roberts in 12th, Justin Melillo after leading late in the race, finishing 13th, last car on the lead lap. Andrew Hardcastle we saw up in the picture, finishing 14th, first car lap down. Brennan Merdza, in the 15th position. Sean Butler, up in the picture quite a bit, just had that early wreck and just couldn't really recover from it, finishing 16th. Jack Painter, another strong run, P17. Leo Mikola in 18th. Luke Breitschoff in 19th after taking that hard hit to end the race. And Mike McConville, 12 laps down, blew up, pushing. Man, he ran a great race tonight. Just temperatures weren't on his side.
Jordan Worth unofficially 21st, Mike Fallon 22nd, Justice Johnson Williams Pandicio the top 26. Last driver scored will be Tyler O'Neill. McAdams did not start tonight's action, neither did Brian Mercurio, as Mercurio did not take part in qualifying heats or feature for tonight. But in the end, it is Corey Carpenter who takes the checker flag at Talladega Superspeedway for tonight's action of FTF SNSL. And the celebrations now underway for that organization. Let's get the chance to talk to Corey Carpenter, shall we? As now, we'll see how he's feeling after tonight. Corey, you get the job done tonight. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It's a long race, but I enjoyed it, and glad I stuck around to the end. It was lots of fun pushing, and that package combo was pretty fun.
Absolutely, and talk us through the final laps of this race. As time started becoming a factor, how were you trying to plan those moves with Cosman?
Well, I was going to push Cosman initially to the win. The plan was to get him in front of me, but then with about 3 or 4 to go, we got word from Justin that the race was going to end on time, and we didn't really have time to swap, so he pushed me to the win instead. But we were gonna stick together to the end no matter what.
Drivers have talked about how this was a fun combination. You mentioned it a little bit there. What was the feeling like throughout the cockpit tonight as you ran the wall at one point, 3-4 wide action at some other points? How was it tonight overall?
Well, the reason it was more fun is because it was slow. We are running a lot slower speeds in this truck versus traditional super speedway racing of today. So it was just, we were able to get huge runs. You could push, but you couldn't really slam bump draft. So it was just a perfect amount of skill and finesse that it took to go fast in these things. And I really enjoyed the style of super speedway racing. I wish that the big cars that we do today would drive like this, but it's always fun to. I'm like Sean. I wish we could do this every week.
Next race goes to Daytona International Speedway, but with the V8 supercars, what are your thoughts on that?
Those are big boxy machines that are designed to brawl, so I assume there'll be lots of crashes and lots of fun, just like tonight.
Anyone you want to thank for the victory tonight, Corey?
Cosman, of course. Zach Johnson for putting on the league. Justin for keeping FTF together, bringing it over to iRacing, and you guys for broadcasting. Appreciate it.
Congratulations once again, Corey.
Thank you.
Corey Carpenter takes the checker flag tonight. Your official winner scored at the moment. Also scored in second at the moment is Hagenstein for tonight's action. He's now standing by with Nick Olson after what was a very interesting race for him, Nick.
Yeah, hey Hags, what a deal there. Pretty much first half of that race felt like an eternity getting through there, and you were caught up in just about everybody else's business. Keeping your head down and being 3 inches from winning that race. I mean, tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we didn't get to finish it under green flag circumstances, but at the end of the day, we drove a really good race, and I mean, it was a rough one. Trust me, it wasn't clean by any means, but we did what we had to do to finish up front. And most importantly, though, congrats to Corey on winning. He drove the wheels off that car, or that truck rather, and he really deserves this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think both of y'all had quite the eventful day, and to get back up there and battle it out amongst yourselves is pretty cool. But I got to ask, at the end of that race, I mean, are you thinking about Jake's temps there, what he might have left? I mean, it looked like y'all were pushing pretty hard for a long time. I felt like if that race went to the end, that either Jake or Cosman were going to blow a motor.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, actually, because me and Jake were actually in the same channel talking when that happened. He was actually overheating towards the end there, just before the caution, he said, "I got to back out. I got to back out. We're gonna blow up." And I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." So it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it came down to that just by seconds too. But like I said, second place though, I can't complain about a second place, and plus really good points day as well. After winning last week and now following up with a second place, I can't complain.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess last thing there, when you realized that the clock was going to be in effect instead of the lap counter, I mean, I guess what point of the race was that? Did that change how you drove?
It really didn't settle in until about maybe the last restart. And it kind of, again, Jake was in my channel, so was Michael P. Frisch. They were just kind of eyeballing it on or with me and just kind of keeping me updated on what's going on. And I was like, all right, it's time to go, because if we get a caution here, that's it. So I mean, we did what we had to do there. Just came up a little bit short, but like I said, I can't complain. Top two is a top two.
Yeah, man. I mean, great job tonight. Way to pull out of the mess earlier. Once you got that faster pair, that 27 was zooming, and just a couple of feet short there.
Yeah, it is what it is, though. But like I said, can't complain.
Yes, sir. All right, JP. It's Tristan Hagenstein.
Coming home in second position. Now third, tentatively at the moment, goes to Cosmin. On issue at the moment. Cosmin now joins us in the broadcast booth. And Cosmin, top three tonight. Talk us through the final laps from your perspective, where Corey had mentioned the plan was originally for you to be pushed on forward by Corey.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, that was his plan. That was never my plan. He was ahead of me, so I wasn't going to lose any time by trying to swap with him or anything. So we hooked together to not lose the draft, and I just like being on the bumper and pushing. I'm okay with pushing him to the win. That was awesome.
How tricky is it to try and manage the temps from your perspective? Because it was already talked about where some trucks were overheating. Of course, a couple actually blew up tonight. What was it trying to manage those temps to make sure you could push Corey into that situation?
To be fair, I had no problems with my temps the entire race. I don't know if it's something that I did or whatever it was, but I was able to push somebody just fine without overheating. Only there in the end, with like 1 or 2 laps to go, I started not lifting whatsoever. Until then, I was leaving a tiny little gap, so with like an air bubble, and it was working really well. I was able to push somebody pretty good. But then in the end, we started locking bumpers, but we didn't overheat. I guess I didn't have enough time to overheat because the caution came out.
Indeed, as well. Your thoughts overall on this combination for tonight?
The truck plus Talladega, this truck plus Talladega, really fun. I'd do it again anytime.
How about V8 supercars rather at Daytona? That's the next combination. Your thoughts on racing those V8 supercars over at Daytona International Speedway?
Man, I can't wait to race the next gen next week. That's gonna be amazing. They're really fun. We've already done those in Grape Drink, and they are a blast. So I really hope we get a good turnout, and I'm looking forward to that, to be honest.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
Corey, Justin, RNC, Sean, and Jordan. I believe I work with them most of the night. They're really good play track drivers, and it's fun to work with them the entire time. Obviously, you guys for broadcasting, and the administrators for putting this up every week.
Congratulations on the run tonight, Cosmin.
Thank you very much. Have a good one too.
Cosmin Ionescu coming home in third position tonight, unofficially at the moment. And Nick, on that note, what are your final thoughts after what was an eventful one, to say the very least, tonight?
Yeah,
overall?
ain't that a word for it? Just crazy racing, chaos brewing everywhere, and man, and we got the finish we deserved out of that with a side-by-side photo finish. I know it came with a caution flag attached to it, but I would say 2 of the best found their way up front and settled it amongst themselves, and that's really all you'd want in a race like that.
And when it comes to the next combination, how do you think drivers are going to fare in the V8 supercars at Daytona?
Yeah, those cars, those cars are something else. the runs are not as strong, I don't think, as what we had here tonight, but the speeds are slower. So you're gonna have tighter racing, a lot tighter knit packs, which makes it really, really, really tight. So elements of netcode and other things like that could come into play, but you just have to be really careful of the cars in front of you and make sure you're given enough space, because that's going to be tight quarters stuff. And like we saw tonight, if you're up front, one little mistake and the whole field could get wiped. So you just got to be really careful.
Take a look at your upcoming events here on STN, where the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals heads to the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway tomorrow night. Coverage starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Time from Las Vegas. Then it's round 3 at Daytona International Speedway for FTF SNSL, presented by STN. That once again is going to be on March the 12th on a Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals heads to Myrtle Beach Speedway for round number 6 on Saturday, March the 13th. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. For my broadcast partner tonight, Nick Olson, for producer Zach Johnson, I'm Justin Prince saying so long, enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you next time here on STN Racing for more fun for FTF action.